Hello, everybody. I do believe that I am live. I'm going to rate the traditional 5. Yep, of course. I can hear myself coming through my own speakers. That's great. I always do that. That's amazing. I've got it open. I've got myself open on 2 windows, and then I just opened something that accidentally started playing a live stream that I'm watching. That's just great. That's okay. That's fine. Everything's good. Everything's fine. We're okay. Ah, there. I think we have controlled everything. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's been quite a time. I do apologize for the sound of my chair adjusting heavily. It's been quite a while since I last streamed, and I must confess I'm very... I'm kind of sad that I haven't been streaming more, but at the same time, I am currently completely off my ADHD medication. Until last week, I was also studying several days of the week for a 3D design course. And on top of that, it's currently prime gardening season. And I have been doing a great deal of gardening, for-profit gardening at that. So, considering that I spent about 2,000 euro on this trip to... Europe, there has most definitely been a very strong incentive for me to be out there and earning money as opposed to nattering to random people on the internet. But I've also had a whole bunch of other stuff going on, which has been variations on fun, interesting, and extremely bloody annoying. Hello, Decato, and hello, Magdalenus Rex. Oh, that actually reminds me, Decato. I need to give you those permissions on the forum. Please do poke me about it in a DM if I haven't done so by tomorrow. Again, unfortunately, being completely unmedicated at the moment, I do have a certain tendency to forget things. But yeah, I discussed everything with the moderators, and yeah, you're good to have those permissions that you wanted. Magdalenus Rex, if I were to visit Europe, thankfully it wouldn't be that expensive because I want to visit the Danube, River, Carpathians, Balkans, and Transylvania. Certainly an interesting decision. Certainly an interesting set of things, of places to go. I kind of want to do this in chronological order, so I won't jump into my thoughts on various parts of Europe right this instant, but I'm going to try and do this in a bit of a chronological fashion, and... I'll just natter for another, 5 minutes or so, and then I will actually get into the subject of things. It's been very pleasant weather the last couple of weeks. Last year, the weather was absolutely dreadful pretty much all year round, and it was very, very depressing. I was probably at my mental lowest last year that I've been for many, many years, but I was very much able to claw my way back to sanity and to happiness within the last 3 or 4 months or so, and things have been going a lot better for me, especially in real life, and that's been very pleasant. I'm about to embark on a massive clear out of my personal space to get rid of the stuff that's just been sitting around for 2 or 3 years at this point without ever being touched, and make way for a new and reimagined Proctor that unfortunately I can't say a great deal about because I want to keep my OPSEC levels regarding what I'm going to be doing in the next year or so as high as possible because, well, it has been brought to my attention that there are certain people that are extraordinarily upset that I continue to have any kind of presence within the VTuber industry, and it is, while it is extraordinarily entertaining for me to read the various insane screeds that they write about me in certain locations that shall go undiscussed, it does encourage me to be just a little bit more clandestine and careful about the kind of things that I say on stream regarding the plans that I have for the future. Magdalenus Rex, Massive Nosferatu and the Willows and the Half-Life 2 fan explains why I like that region. That's pretty based. March, April were probably some of the most distressing and depressing times I've had since well, 2020. That's a real shame. I really hope you get better from that. It's always miserable when the weather is bad and also crap is going on in your personal life. That's the worst combination possible. And like last winter, the winter was pretty miserable, and I had to deal with like both of my parents were quite ill over the winter. Both of them developed rather bad illnesses. My poor mother had a very bad UTI for like several months, and my father had some personal issues as well, which made the atmosphere rather tense and rather difficult to deal with. But things are far, far better now, and I'm just kind of enjoying myself in general far more. Hello, Divo Leon. Really nice to see you. He lives again indeed. I hope that you've been doing well too. I'm afraid that I haven't actually been watching a vast amount of VTuber content apart from Twitch VTubers, like, of course, my beloved Kamiyoshi Kisha. So I have no idea if you're streaming at the moment, but if you are, then I hope you're having a good time. And also, if you're not, then I hope you manage to get back to it soon. Right, I think that it's been enough time for people to sort of trickle in, and so I'm going to go on to the actual topic that I was going to discuss tonight. For reference, there will be quite a lot of photographs for this. I have already pre-screened them. There's no reflections or anything. I caught one or two pictures where, like, my face was very, very clearly visible in reflections, which was, yeah, a little bit of a yikes moment, but, I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be massively... I've shown myself to multiple VTubers at this point, and I've said to multiple fans of VTubers, I am the notorious Proctor, a groomer of groomers. Herald be my name. May I live in infamy forever. And they've been like, oh, okay, cool. I think I showed my face to a VTuber during... It wasn't even somebody who was at Twitchcon or Dokomi. We just happened to be having like a good conversation about conventions while I was sitting in a Japanese restaurant, of which there are some really lovely ones in Dusseldorf. And I was just talking about how other VTubers had reacted to meeting me in person, and she was... I don't think she's particularly much of a con goer herself, and I just got an urge to snap off a selfie, and I said, here, enjoy me looking at, like, been like 12 hours since I had a shave, and I'd just come from Dokomi, so it was a very long day, and of course it was a crowded restaurant without brilliant lighting, and I just said, you here, gaze upon me in all my glory, and she said, I'll quote her exactly. She said, you look exactly like the kind of YouTuber I'd expect to post a video titled A Short Retrospective on X that is 7 hours long. So, if anyone wants to... I'm not sure if that's enough for, like, a criminal profile or whatever, like one of those, like, what is it, like witness sketch mock-ups or whatever, but yeah, that's apparently what I look like, according to at least one VTuber online. Somebody who looks as if they're on the verge of launching into a 5-hour video essay entitled A Short Retrospective on X has seen right through. Hello, evil gremlin. Dive Only on College has been kicking my ass lately. Had to make some drastic changes to the channel schedule so I don't go insane, but I'm fine now. Past exams and slowly getting back on track. Thanks for asking. Yeah, sure. I know exactly. Even that only I've had a part-time 3D exam, but that has been really, really irritating. I kind of spurred out about it a bit on the Discord because engineers design the worst tests in the history of anything ever. I think that after you are sufficiently advanced in a topic, you find it basically impossible to mentally dumb yourself down into the mindset of somebody who is approaching the program from the point of view of an amateur or a novice, because like all of how the 3D exam worked is that you were supposed to design a whole bunch of things. The design was nearly effortless for me. I really enjoy 3D design, especially like precision 3D design. that was very, very easy for me. I actually genuinely enjoyed those parts of it. But then there was assemblies, and how assemblies work is what you're supposed to do in these tests is take a number of different pre-designed parts, and then you have to mate them all together into a finished piece. So, like, you'll have one of the questions was take a pair of grippers with like the handle, the pins that connect the grips together, and then the grips themselves, and you have to mate them all together into one finished piece. And then after that, you need to angle the grippers relative to the handle by a certain number of degrees. I hope that makes sense. But the thing is, the way that 3D modeling, the program was SolidWorks, by the way, the way that SolidWorks works is when you want to angle something, you need to select a edge or a face of a part, and then you select an edge or a face or an axis or a reference point to angle it in relation to. Now, the thing is, with these grippers, they were reasonably complicated parts, and the diagram that we were given as an explanation didn't actually list which edge or face these grips were supposed to be, you were supposed to select the grips from in order to angle them relative to the handle. The handle was easy enough to figure out. You were supposed to, the axis of the angle reference point was the axis of rotation around the handle. So basically the center line through the handle. But there was no reference point to what face or edge you were supposed to select on the grips to angle it in reference to. And every single person in the class was clicking through multiple different faces, multiple different edges, and keep in mind there's like 2 or 3 dozen possibilities, because there was no way to figure it out except via trial and error. And I eventually figured it out. It was from the very tips of the gripping teeth, like each of the grips had little teeth on it. You were supposed to select the tip of the top left tooth and use that to get the angle from. And I'm just like, how the actual fuck were we ever supposed to figure that out on our own through any metric besides trial and error? Use origin object. No, the origin object, that was easy. That's not the difficult part. That's not the difficult part at all. It's not objects, it's like parts of an object. Sorry, stretching. Oh. But yeah, that was very fun. That's what I spent yesterday doing. It was rather painful. But anyway, let's actually talk about my bloody holiday now. I'm just having a sip of my coffee. So my travel plans were go from my home to Dublin Airport and then go to Amsterdam. The funny thing was that another VTuber that I know who has been to Amsterdam before said, be very careful in Amsterdam because it's a massive airport and it's really got a really complicated layout. So you can very easily get lost or sidetracked there, so be careful. Dublin Airport is a really rambling space as well. It has a complicated layout too, but I will credit it in that it has a very, very comprehensive set of signs and very up-to-date modern digital signs with lots of information on them that I found incredibly helpful. I have been to Dublin Airport before, by the way. I can navigate Dublin Airport pretty easily, even though it is rather cavernous. And so I had absolutely no problem getting through Dublin, and I landed in Amsterdam after a nice short flight. I get out of the plane, I walk down the, what's it called, like the concourse or whatever, I get my passport seen, etc. Oh, this was another thing that I was told. I was told by multiple people, be really careful in Europe because they're reacting to Brexit very badly, and they're, like, harassing British passport holders, they're forcing them to wait longer. They're like doing things to make their transition into Europe a lot more difficult, and so my stress levels when I got to Amsterdam were quite high. There was no problem whatsoever. I just walked in, I said, I'm gonna be here for 12 days, the guy at the passport control just looked at me, looked down at my passport, looked through it, said, "Yep, okay, welcome to the Netherlands," and he passed me straight through. Like, all of the hysteria that people told me about was nonsense. Absolute and total nonsense. I had no issues whatsoever. And also, just to skip back, it was really funny too, because when I got back into Dublin on the return trip, there are two passport lanes. One is EU citizens, and the other is non-EU citizens. Britain is not part of the EU. I have a British passport. And so I lined up with the non-EU citizens. And I walked up to the gate, and I gave my passport to the guy, and he looked at me, and he said, "You're in the wrong queue, mate. You need to queue up with the EU citizens." Although he did pass me through. Like, he said, "There's no problem, but just for reference, you're in the wrong queue." And I asked him, "Wait, but we're not in the EU. Like, Britain has left the EU." And he said, "Nope, common carrier law. You're still legally classified for all intents and purposes as an EU citizen for purposes of passport control." And I'm just like, what? Nobody ever told me this. This is not something that I have ever been told at any point whatsoever. When was this? Has this always been a thing? I mean, obviously I couldn't exactly interrogate him because there was a line behind me, but I'm just like, what? International travel, guys. I have no idea. Matty, yeah, you now have the LGBTQ, WTF, BBQ, and the EU plus Britain buddy. I didn't know about that. I don't know if that's been a thing recently or whatever, but it was just really weird. Mike Linus Rex also going on the cybersecurity path, and it's way less stressful. Oh, you're talking about 3D stuff. Also, it is kind of funny, because my parents obviously are, like, quite old, and they both remember air travel long before digital ID and all of that kind of stuff. And so whenever I go to fly, my parents are always extremely insistent to get there like 4 hours before the flight leaves. You need to be there. You need to be, be prepared for very long queue times, very long wait times, etc. and so on. And that's never been the case at any airport that I've gone to, because I've just gone for online check-in every single time. I get my boarding pass. Every time I go to an airport, for all my flights, I see a load of like people that are 30, that are like 40 plus. They're all there getting their paper boarding passes, and there's like a line of 40 or 50 people outside the check-in gates of the airport. And it costs extra nowadays to get a physical boarding pass. I don't know how much because I never got one, but yeah, you need a physical boarding pass if you don't do it online. And I have just walked through check-in every single time and just scan my boarding pass and everything, and you just walk straight in. No problems whatsoever. And like that cuts a good 2 hours or so off the wait time. I mean, I still get to the airport like 2 or 3 hours early because, that's just common bloody sense. It is so funny to me how deeply ingrained this mindset is in older people, where they want to do things this particular way they've always known, and they won't change no matter what, which, okay, sometimes it's better to do things the old way. There's no way I agree with all the online digital nonsense that we go through these days, but yeah, it's just made air travel so insanely easy compared to how it used to be. Rin friend, when I traveled, my parents urged me to be there 5 hours behind, but the whole process took me like 10 minutes even with getting on the plane. Yep, exactly the same with me. No issues whatsoever. It's as smooth as glass. Although there's a funny incident. I'll talk about it later because I want to go chronological. So anyway, as I was saying, Amsterdam Airport, I've been warned multiple times this place is a rambling maze. You don't want to get caught up in anything. All I did was I opened my phone, I went to Google Maps, I said, "Hey Google Maps, where is the nearest train stop here?" Google Maps pointed me in the right direction. I walked in a pretty much straight line from the airport arrival lounge to the train station. And the first thing that I see about Europe is that it has self-service ticket stations and kiosks that actually work. The thing about both Britain and Ireland is that Britain, I don't know what the hell is going on. Britain, public transport in England, don't, okay? Just don't. Get a car. Steal somebody's car if you have to. But my God, do not rely on public transport under any circumstances in Britain. Ireland is not too bad with public transport, but there's a comparison there that I'll get into a little bit later. Yeah. So I was at these self-service ticket kiosks, and there's this... I get this very surreal sensation as I work on these self-service kiosks, and that surreal sensation is... There's a voice in the back of my head that is telling me it shouldn't be this easy. And we're going to come back to that voice, because that voice says that in my head an awful lot when I'm in Europe. So I want to go to Rotterdam, I want to take the train to Rotterdam, and it takes my money, it scans my card, it gives me a ticket. And again, with this slightly surreal feeling, I just walk to the gates, and I go down, and I wait for my train. The train is exactly on time, I get on it, and within 30 minutes, I'm in Rotterdam. And the trains in Holland are really, really nice. They are very pleasant to sit on. The train that I got on from Amsterdam to Rotterdam was... For one thing, it was absolutely colossal. The space inside, I could have very easily run an office at any one of the tables that were, like, the chair and table arrangements that was in those trains, in that train that I went to from Rotterdam to Amsterdam, Rotterdam. It was just fantastic. Like, a really, really lovely, huge, spacious train. I would go on that train for leisure. And then I get off at Rotterdam Central Station, and this is where the second myth... So actually 3 myths. We've had the get to the airport really early myth, we've had the EU passport control will hassle you if you're British myth, and now we reach the 3rd myth. And unlike the other myths, busting this one wasn't entirely pleasant, because every person that I've spoken to, all of the older people who remember going to Europe in like the 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s, etc., they all talk about how beautifully clean Holland is. How it's extremely clean. It's just so clean. It's like beautifully clean. All of the streets are clean. All of the houses are clean. All of the people are clean. It's just so clean, guys. You've no idea. It's so clean. It's so clean. Guys, I just don't know how to stress this. It's just so goddamn clean. It's just so clean. Like, I'm serious. So that is what I've unironically been hammered with for pretty much my entire life. And I get into Rotterdam, and let me make sure this actually works. This should work. Yeah, here. I'm not sure. Can I actually zoom in here? I don't think I can. No, I can't. This is annoying. But this was the first public park that I go to. I'm not sure if you can see this, but that's another thing I sat next to. This is a weird kind of banana-shaped bench that I sat on. What do you see on the ground there? Like right here. Like that's a cigarette butt. And ironically, this is like the cleanest part of the park that I could find. There's gum, cigarette butts, more cigarette butts. You can see some cigarette butts up there. Like massive amounts of cigarette butts. And then you go here. This is a random street. Oh yeah, look up here, like up here. Every single litter box that I came across, every single one, without a single exception, was smashed open. Like someone had come along with almost like a sledgehammer and smashed it open, and it was just filth lying on the ground. You can see the filth right here. You can see the massive number of cigarette butts here. It was just absolutely filthy. Isn't Rotterdam a weed town? Oh, yes. That was the other thing that... now, the VTubers that I'd spoken to online, there's a couple of them that are Dutch, and I did the thing, and they say that the foreigners do this all the time. I said that, oh, there's a whole bunch of really nice coffee shops in Holland that I'd like to visit, because I really like coffee. And every single one, like the one that I remember, she said, like, yeah, I'm just gonna hold you real close, virtually, of course, for a moment, and just like say it to you because you're a stupid foreigner. Those aren't actually coffee shops. Those are cannabis stores. And I'm like, why are they called coffee shops then? And she was like, they're cannabis stores. They're just called coffee shops. Like, real coffee shops in Holland are called cafes. Coffee shops are cannabis stores. Now, I did know that Holland had legalized weed, but it wasn't until I got into Rotterdam that... in Ireland, weed is illegal, but a lot of people do smoke weed. But legitimately, I'd only caught like very faint whiffs of weed in like my local town. Like nobody would smoke on the street or anything like that. Even like really late at night, you would at most you would like go down an estate and you'd smell a little bit of weed. But walking into Rotterdam, oh my goodness, the smell of weed was overpowering and intense. It was like walking into a cloud of gas, a cloud of weed-flavored gas, and it just is everywhere you go. Absolutely everywhere you go in Rotterdam just stinks of weed to an incredible degree. It really was just an amazing experience just to be exposed to so much casual weed consumption. Even the seagull is looking disgusted. Yeah. The seagulls in Rotterdam are probably stoned out of their minds all the time. It must be a great place to be a seagull because, my goodness, you would have like a proximity high of all of the weed that people smoke. This is the first statue that I came across. Rotterdam is also one of those cities where there has very obviously been like the anti-statue movement going on, where a bunch of SJW freaks have been like, no, we can't have nice statues of things because that's racist. Oh, those people, they owned slaves or something, or they were colonists. They were colonizers. We can't honor their memory. It doesn't matter if they, like, contributed massively to social well-being or whatever. They were evil, horrible, racist people, and we have to tear down their statues and replace them. So there, Guildmage Troy, so there is an entire city on the continent of Europe that smells like an angry, terrified skunk. I will say, honestly, I don't mind the smell of weed at all. It's not a bad smell. It's just kind of again, when every single person is smoking, it's like, yeah, it's just a little bit overwhelming. But anyway, this was one of the statues that had not been colonized by the SJW movement. There were a bunch of the stereotypical strong, empowered, fat black woman statues that really just kind of shocked me as I walked past them. Just like, why is there a genuinely very well made, in terms of its actual quality and finish, statue of a she-boon, a fat, ugly black woman? And I have no shame using that term either, because I do not understand why black people feel the need to represent themselves in such visually repulsive fashions. It's just like with the whole black VTuber movement. Pretty much 95% of all black VTuber model designs are viscerally offensive to the eyes. And it was another thing I had a great laugh about with the VTubers that I met up with in Rotterdam and to a lesser extent Dokomi. We kind of joked around about the black VTuber movement as well and how they're just not taken seriously anywhere because they're insane. Might the Rex in the Netherlands even have African colonies? Didn't? No, that was Belgium. That was Belgium that had colonies, but the Netherlands was... I'm pretty sure the Netherlands had a pretty strong impact on the slave trade. It did trade internationally a massive amount. But yeah, as I said, the Shiboon statues were very much in evidence. Might Lennis Rex, the only black VTuber with a decent design was Twisty. Yeah, that's the funny thing, is that it's... Twisty is black IRL, if anyone is curious. I've never seen her face docs, but I've been told by multiple people that she is black, and like she has a pasty white VTuber model, and I just don't kind of get it. Never ask a Belgian what happened in the Congo, by the way. Yep, that's a whole thing. So like, you see, the thing is, I'm not entirely averse to I don't like the idea necessarily of honoring and venerating some of the historical figures that I know are honored and venerated, but that's not really even because of mainstream history. That's mostly because like 2 or 3 of them I know were very dedicated Freemasons, and Freemasons are a fucking terrible cult of monsters. But yeah, that's a whole other tangent. Serena Maiko is better. So Proctor and the other whites get together to mock the blacks. The Netherlands did terrible things to the Indonesians, if I remember correctly. But I mean, Indonesia is Indonesia. Like, nobody cares about Indonesia. Especially not the Indonesians, my goodness. Do you have any idea how easy... Do you have any idea how many... No, I'm gonna do the thing... The number of Indonesian VTubers that I've known who were just like, yeah, I would marry you if you got me out of Indonesia. Yeah, that's a thing that has happened to me more than once, I'll say. But anyway, let's not tangent too far. Isn't Faceless an Indonesian? Yes, he is. And as he says on the Discord, there's a reason he hangs out with us as opposed to the Indonesian VTuber communities, because they are crazy. Mad Linus Rex, you're saying find a Christian who wants to get the hell out of Indonesia? Yeah, just get them out of Indonesia, and they will unironically thank you for the rest of their lives, because... yeah, their lives in Indonesia are just so unbelievably shit. Like, astonishingly shit. It's genuinely quite terrifying to listen to Indonesian women talk about how they're treated on average by their family, by anyone. It is really, really, really grim. Anyway. Is it raining outside? Yes, it is. So, yeah, I got to my hostel, which was the Sparks hostel, which was one of the better ones in Rotterdam, apparently. It was quite nice. I enjoyed my time there. It was a bit unpleasant to share a 12-bunk room with a bunch of smelly autists, but well, it's not too bad. Not too bad, I suppose. I have had worse nights. The problem was it was very hot the first night, and it's Europe, so there's no air conditioning at all. So I lay awake for a long time trying to get to sleep in this intense heat. And of course, because it's like 12 people in the same room, you're not going to be naked or anything. I couldn't take my... See, I sleep naked, and so it's really uncomfortable for me to wear stuff under sheets. So I did not have a fun time in that bedroom, in that dorm room, the first night. The second night was far cooler, and I enjoyed that. And I spent 5 nights in that hostel, Sparks Hostel. It's cheap. There's plenty of facilities. You can cook your own food there. It's incredibly central in Rotterdam. It's literally 5 minutes from the train station. I would pretty highly recommend it, honestly. It's very good. You just have to put up with the fact you're going to be with a bunch of sweaty autists. And that was another thing that I found a bit disturbing when I got to the hostel, because obviously a lot of the guys there at the hostel were there for Twitchcon. And the guy who was in the bunk adjacent to me was kind of terrifying. Well, not terrifying, more like horrifying, because he was about 5'6", like a really short guy, and he was also very obviously a femboy or a twink or something of those kinds. Like, he had those kind of really soft, plush, made-up lips and very soft, slightly, like, makeup skin tone and long, feminine hair. But I have never seen a guy who looked more kind of dead in the eyes than he did. And additional to that, he wore short-sleeved shirts and shorts the entire time he was there, and he had massive self-harm scars. I mean, if you imagine from the shoulder to the wrist, not a single clear space, not a single undamaged patch of flesh. And all along the legs too. He was track mark is injection site. No, that's not what it is. He looked as if he had just sat there and cut himself for an hour a night for the past 5 years. It was so incredibly graphic that I looked and I felt really self-conscious. And I tried not to look, but it was so blatantly obvious. Inspired by that comic where Shadow breaks every single bone in his body in time prison. It was really, really creepy. And the guy, every night that he was there, just the moment TwitchCon ended, I don't think he went out to eat or anything like that. He just went back to his bunk. He got in his bunk, he turned on his phone, and he just stared at his phone non-stop for like 6 hours at a stretch on his bunk. That guy was probably the most horribly messed up person I have seen in a very long time. And there were quite a few other people with very obvious self-harm scars on TwitchCon, and they were all men too. Which was just really creepy to me, because prior to this, I hadn't been exposed to self-harm very much at all, because, you know, I live in a small, fairly high imagery... sorry, that's because I read your message, Divo Leon. Fairly, like, insular and sheltered Christian community. So there's no such thing as self-harm in our community. Like, nobody self-harms. It's a myth. But seeing it just so blatant and very obviously worn almost like a badge of pride, oh, that really kind of just messed with me. It really does make me just feel, wow, are there seriously people that want to show this off? Again, I that may come across as like incredibly naive and sheltered of me, but it's just how it came across. Right, so let's move on from that rather depressing moment, because we get to TwitchCon, Rotterdam. Self-harm is an insult to the temple of our flesh. I assume Christians believe so. Yep, absolutely. Like, you would not... I mean, when I say you would not self-harm in our community, you would get very quickly... You would get massive amounts of support for it. Like, people would fall over themselves to try and help you. And I mean, help you in a very sincere way. Rather than like, oh, you must be cursed by Satan, and be gone, demons for this boy. No, it's not like that at all. Like, people would offer genuine psychological help to somebody who was like that. Although, to be honest, given the extent of like stuff like that, genuinely makes me think that demon possession could still be a thing in life today, because people just look so bloody crazy and cracked out with all of this. Divo Leon, I wouldn't say the want to show it, it's just that they probably don't care to hide it anymore. I mean, here's the thing. This might sound a bit weird, but I actually quite like scars. I really like scars on somebody. Like, not graphic, horrible, disfiguring scars, but I just like scars in general. I think they give skin character, but that kind of intentional self-mutilation is really, really weird. That, like, crosses a line or something. That this is not pleasant at all. Anyway, as I was saying, we get to Twitchcon Rotterdam, and this is when I meet up with the VTubers that I know, and we go in a car together to Rotterdam, to no, Ahoy. It's the Ahoy like convention center, which is big. It's really big. And I think the attendance was somewhere in the region of like 20,000 or so. It felt like it. Ducato, I like Cleo's Scar. Yeah, stuff like that, exactly. Stuff like Cleo Aite's Scar, that's great. I love that. I think that's genuinely quite sexy. It really does. It kind of tells a story, a visual story, and I like that a lot. Plus, I just like the... There's something weird about me. I like the texture of scars on skin. I don't like perfectly smooth, unblemished skin. I like skin to have a bit of... As I said, I think that it gives skin character. Anyway, let's get on with this. We get to TwitchCon as a group, very easy, get my stuff scanned in, and I go into this big hall, and the very first thing is, of course, the inaugural announcement. TwitchCon is really, really, really cringe, bro. It's really cringe. So... this screenshot here is from the opening ceremony of TwitchCon. Give me 1 second, by the way. It's getting really hot in here, so I'm going to just take off my top. It's a very sultry, kind of damp weather at the moment. It's very warm, and so I'm a bit overheated. Oh. I've also been doing a lot of exercise and a lot of gardening today. So this barcode that you can see on screen, I have no idea if it still works. This is Twitch's special Janny support Discord that was shilled at the TwitchCon opening ceremony. They had like it was Mod Appreciation Day, Moderator Appreciation Day at TwitchCon EU, and it was probably the most intensely cringe thing I have witnessed on a live stage in my entire life, because what they did was they had a number of creators there at TwitchCon, and they also had flown in their head moderators. They had made like special accommodation to bring in the head moderators of the, not community managers or personal managers, mind you. I'm talking about Janny's moderators. Yeah, Janny Lives Matter. This was unironically Janny Lives Matter. Janny Lives Matter. And oh, I just sat there from my space, and I cringed into my seat the entire time, because they had all these and of course they all looked exactly as you expect they would. There was a like 2 or 3 non-binary they/them moderators. There was a fat guy. There was a really tall greasy-haired guy who was like the like, if you had opened sexual predator on Wikipedia, his kind of face would be the kind of face you'd see. And they were all given wooden swords, okay? Wooden swords that had each, for their valiant efforts at defending the community. And each one of these wooden swords had their like moniker, their Janny moniker carved into them, and they were like presented to these head moderators were presented with these personalized swords by the people White Knight Award, unironic White Knight Award, and I was just like, holy shit, this is the most cringe thing I have seen in my entire life. It is absolutely indescribably cringe. Oh, just thinking about it makes me want to cringe. And here, just give me a second before I mess around with anything. Let me just put my screen so I actually know what's coming up, because in this silly thing I actually can't see what the next screenshot is. And they also it gets better. Yeah, now I can see what's coming next. It gets better, guys. It really does get better, because yeah, certified Reddit moment, the most certified Reddit moment of all. Give a bunch of autists in a crowd a bunch of faux weapons. What could go wrong? Actually, there's a cool thing in Dokomi that I'll talk about later on with it regarding weapons. But yeah, so they have this whole cringe ceremony, mod appreciation, and then they have this fucking thing. I don't normally swear, okay? So the fact that I'm swearing right now about this just is an example of how just completely disgusted I am with this whole thing. Guildmates Troy, this convention has so many red flags. I know men who will break up with it in 8 some Jennies don't do it for free. They demand sex with Jewish meat men. I don't know exactly what that's a reference to, but it wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, this is the fairy... Guys... This is the fairy mod mother. The fairy mod mother. Now look at this character design, okay? Look at this character design, and you tell me what kind. This is a voiced animated character. They had like being puppeted, a bit like a VTuber actually, if you want to sully the brand that much, okay? So they had this like weird fairy mod mother VTuber style thing, and guess what kind of voice this thing has, all right? I'm not even gonna... I mean, it was the most stereotypical, like, hello, lads, how is everything? Isn't it a wonderful day to be fairy mod mother? Kind of style voice. Like, hello, I'm so happy that my Kamiyoshi is safe and protected, and my sword is always ready at her defense against the evil trolls and the hackers and the infiltrators that are trying to destroy her wonderful community. Sorry, I do apologize if I've given anybody brain trauma from that voice, but that's basically the kind of voice that this horrifying abomination against all that is good, pure, and holy in this world had. That's gonna... God damn it, that's gonna get clipped, isn't it? I don't care. So yeah, this was the first horseman of the cringe apocalypse. Magdalenus Rex reminder, this is the culture that the majority of Western VTubers are. Hololive and FaZe and adjacent fans are basically resting on a paradisical island over an ocean of Sturgeon's lore. Oh god, dude, it is just so unbelievably cringe. Like I keep saying that, but you just had to be there. Anyway, what's next in line? Yeah, after this, Twitchcon itself was very much kind of more of a social occasion, I would say, than a structured one. There were a lot of creator parties that the VTubers that I was with attended, and during that time I was able to just kind of wander around the place and do whatever I wanted, which was nice. I met a few interesting people. Most people, unfortunately, had nothing to do with VTubers, so I didn't really do anything regarding them. I just kind of took into sights. There was like a competitive Elden Ring Night Rain run through, and it was pretty fun to watch. Lots of professional level, well, not professional level, but, you know, very experienced Elden Ring players just tearing the place up and getting their asses handed to them by bosses. And one of the things that I tried very early on in TwitchCon was mochi, because there was a mochi stand, and I am an instant convert to mochi because I have never had mochi before in my life, but these were like fresh mochi, and they were expensive. They were bloody expensive. It was like €5 per mochi, and I was just like, this is going to be some damn good food if it's going to be €5 per mochi. And god damn, it was really, really good food. I loved it. It was really, really delicious. and that's going to become a thing. That's going to become a theme. We'll get back to that in a minute. So, after I have my very nice mochi, which I praised vociferously later on to anybody who would listen, and I got several other people to buy mochi as well, so there was lots of people that very much enjoyed the mochi at Twitchcon. Then I just started wandering around the various attractions that were at Twitchcon, and there was some very, very good... is there any way that I can zoom into this? It's very irritating that I can't. Just give me 1 second, because this I definitely need to... let me just hide that and exit slideshow. And because I absolutely do want to show you exactly some zoomed up stuff. Yeah, why is it I can't zoom in on the slideshow, but I can zoom in on this regular thing? This is very irritating, guys. 1 moment, please. Why is it I can't make this at full screen? I'm gonna accidentally dox anything about my desktop before I do anything. Nope, I think we're pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so 2 seconds. 2 seconds, guys. Sorry, it's just minor technical things. Yeah, I don't think the date that the image is taken is going to dox me particularly well, is it? And so yeah, let's get back to here. Right, so I started walking around the various different artist stalls at TwitchCon, and there was some really nice stuff that I really enjoyed. There's a couple better images of this, but this was a artist stand that I really, really liked. She does a whole bunch of retro-style anime art, and her stuff was legitimately fantastic. Everybody that I was with bought something at this stall, and I think that that was a really, really great price for everything. It was also... do I have to do this every single time? That's very annoying. There was also some cringe stuff and the typical kind of thing that you'd see at a convention like this. I thought these were fairly cute. Sustainable sewing and recycling. One of the annoying things that I find is it's not about being perfect, nor extreme, nor moralistic. It's just a humble contribution, a small effort in my daily life, and I'm like, girl, I really find all of this very obnoxious, how people are looking for ways to add sustainable and recycled into every single thing in the entire universe. What do some of these say? I thought this one was kind of amusing. Ethical is the new cool. Like, what is that even supposed to mean? Some weird stuff at TwitchCon, and there's plenty of weird stuff at Dokomi too, but we'll get into that. There's also a couple of very nice... now, here is unfortunately another problem here. This was actually a really nice stall. This Andono's Studios. I've seen them at several different places, and their work is really cool. Do I have another one of their... Yep, this kind of stuff. I really like this. Like, that is a really, really lovely piece of art. That is incredibly cute. If I could have, I would have bought this. Unfortunately, it was just too large for my suitcase. Give me one more. Why am I in studio mode? There we go. Let me just look back at it. We can't see it. We can't see, lol. Yeah, you can. It's supposed to be pictures of... Wait, there is. Like, what about now? Can you see it now? It's showing on my screen. Don't tell him he's muted either. I swear, if you guys are messing with me, I will be very annoyed with you. Let me just check on my own stream. Give me 1 second. View your channel. I can see it on my stream. Someone is messing with me. You people are really annoying sometimes. I don't know why I put up with you, but yeah. Anyway, this is a really, really lovely piece of artwork. Yeah, Crimson Mary and Andonos. They do very nice work. I got their card, and I would love to commission them for something someday. That's not a good picture. That's not a good thing. They draw very pretty ladies with lovely fluffy tails and ears. That's another one of theirs. More very nice work by them. Very cute art style and very cute designs. All very sweet and all very lovely. There's going to be a lot more of these. Here's the one that I wanted to focus on. This is... Unfortunately, she doesn't do commissions, which is... Do I have... Yeah, that's the best one. That's the best one. Like, these... I really love these posters, and I really love... I went to the Artist Alley, and all I got was a business card. I have hundreds of business cards from Twitchcon and Dokomi. A nice 80s style, I know. This is lovely. This is my jam. I find that this kind of... That one's really good. I love that one. A guy that I was with was buying, like, several of these, and I don't blame them. Hey, I follow them. What's their name? God damn it, do I not have their name in focus? Like, it's Mizuka something. And I do have their business card or whatever. This is just the brick building community. This was all of the stuff that they made. Not particularly interesting. Synthwave 80s anime. Yes, Synthwave is a really, really great design style, I think, that I really enjoy. I'm just gonna start scrolling through these in general. Just cute little things. One more smashed up bin just to prove as well that literally all the bins in Rotterdam were like this, and it was pretty disgusting, honestly. And I thought this was cute because does anyone know what model this is from? Because I saw this and for a second I was like, wait, why? When did Busujima Bibi manage to get printed shirts of herself to TwitchCon? Because that was the first... Until I noticed the little, like, horns at the top and, like, the blood, I was like, this has got to be a dark elf. Like, this is obviously a dark elf, and this is really a similar style to Busujima Bibi, who I watch quite a lot of. It took me a good 15 seconds or so to realize, oh wait, that's not her, that's someone else. Let me just... I've got too many windows open, there we go. Matimatis, they have all this going on in the Netherlands, yet I have been kicked out of a bar in Amsterdam for pissing too loudly in the toilet. Oh dear, that is rather amusing to me. So I'm just pre-looking through all the stuff. So after I wandered around the Artist Alley for a while, there's not an enormous amount of stuff that I found particularly interesting in the Artist Alley, like not enough to photograph. There was a lot into Dokomi, which we will get to later on, but unfortunately this was really awkward because the lighting in this area was terrible. This was just a little sign that I left on the wall. I think every convention has one, like the self-messaging wall. A man can't control the strength of his piss jet. I think there's something wrong with your penis then, Rin friend, if you can't do that, because that's not particularly difficult. So yeah, I just wrote on the wall, Proctor Zakharov, love me some Kirsch. And I specifically, before anyone yells at me, I specifically spelled it as Kirsch, because that's how people pronounce her name. That's how people constantly pronounce her name online, and I just don't get it why. I pretty much, even like Jim Mediker in a recent stream was calling her Kirsch. Or it's not, it's Kirsche. It's Kirsche. It's Kirsche. It's lovely. Kirsche means cherry in German. And there was an awful lot of business. This was at the VTuber meetup, because there was a VTuber meetup in Dokomi as well. Not Dokomi, I mean TwitchCon, sorry. And I met several VTubers there as well. Shekai was there. And she is definitely not a... She is definitely not a man, okay? Several people in the Discord asked me, can you confirm if Shekai is a MTF or not? Because we think that she is male to female. No. Shekai is most definitely a woman. However, she is an incredibly short, rather architecturally sound lady. And she is also very, very butch. Like, she's a lesbian, and yeah, she absolutely fulfills every single possible stereotype of butch lesbian. She even wore like leather and had kind of a biker aesthetic going on, biker or a hoodlum aesthetic with because she covered her face with like a hoodlum's mask kind of thing. Would she fare well against an earthquake? Yeah, she would fare quite well. As I said, she is very architecturally sound and probably has a very robust Latine audience. There are some third worlders on VT who think Cleo is trans. Yeah, their Trundar is just a bit misaligned, I would say. Yeah, Shekai, extremely butch lesbian, but absolutely definitely not a man. We will talk more about people who are not men in a short while, but yeah, not a man. Now, hopefully for very obvious reasons, I did not take many pictures of the VTuber community meetup at TwitchCon, because unlike what certain parts of the internet believe, I have no particular desire to dox VTubers, and there were a lot of VTubers walking around without any masks on, which I quite like. There were also a great deal of Twitch thoughts. There were quite a lot of Twitch thoughts. And actually, I had a really nice conversation with a non-Twitch thought who was also a Flesh streamer, basically. And she streamed on Twitch, and she was really nice, actually. I had a great time talking to her. And I don't watch her, but a great time. Just, I think, career of like 9 years long or something, and she'd been streaming on Twitch for forever. I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now. And yeah, I didn't take many pictures of the VTuber community meetup at all, because obviously they would box people. But the fun thing there was I met Nyara, the guy who is like ranting and screaming about Kirsha and also about trans kids on Twitter all the time. Nyara does not know that I met him at TwitchCon, but I did, and the guy is a poser. Because no, I'm not lying, Rain Friend. I am absolutely not lying. I met him at TwitchCon. He was not aware of my presence. Was he in person? Tall, lanky, kind of twinky. Wore a mask. But yeah, very, very definitely a man. And also, he doesn't use the feminine voice in person. He just sounded like a generic, normal German man. Proc, you should adopt a zero gaslighting stance akin to Kier. Also, I hope you left that POS crying. I did nothing to him at all. And I'm not going to say anything more about our interaction, because I'm nearly certain that if I did, he would realize who I was. And, yeah, there's no freaking way that he wouldn't try and dox me, because he's that kind of person. Because, like, I didn't wear a mask or anything around TwitchCon. Again, I don't particularly care if my face is attached to my username on the internet, because, you know, I look decent. He doesn't use the feminine voice ever. It sounds like Klaus. That's the thing. While on streams, he kind of affects that silly falsetto that is like a very bad man's attempt to pass as a woman's voice. In person, no, he doesn't use that at all. He sounds a perfectly normal, generic male. Nothing feminine about his voice whatsoever. Like, you would have to go out of your way to... There would be zero way to know that he was a man, that he posed as a woman in any capacity outside of the internet by just his features or anything. Sorry, I have to take a breath for a second. So there was that. Let me just look forward in my screenshots and everything. Yep, next thing over. Yeah, I saw... we'll get to their business cards in a minute. There was a lot of Proctor. I am not going to be thrown out of Twitchcon for physically assaulting someone, sir. Oh, yeah, this was the mod table. Thank the mods. Moderators. You know them. You love them. They work tirelessly behind the scenes, keeping things safe, dodging the spotlight, hiding in plain sweatpants. But now it's their turn. Pick up a pen. Show some love. Leave a note, a doodle, a thank you, a haiku, a sonnet, a flourish of lyrical grandeur, or just say hey. Without mods, Twitch isn't the always buzzing, never boring, certified grade A fun place that it is. So let them know. Reminder, the wall is being monitored by the Ministry of Good Energy, so keep it kind. I want to find the person who wrote this message, and I want to kill them. Is this the Twitch equivalent of a pizza party at work? It may very well be. But in light of this, is a different angle? Yeah, nope, sorry. This is a different angle on it. There's some quite cute cards there. A Poggers card, and I'm fairly sure the Poggers thing doesn't this. Wait, this was the replacement for the guy's face. That's the pogging emote, because the guy's face was like a COVID denier or something. Or by COVID denier, I think he said just you don't need to get vaccinated to survive COVID, and I think that got him unpersoned instantly by everything. Was this entire thing in English? Yeah, it was in English. Everything was in English. The Dutch grasp of English is near perfect. Every single Dutch person that I met had a very, very solid grasp of English. There was no problems communicating whatsoever at any point. But anyway, since this was, like, behind them, like, that's the mod wall. The community wall where people were drawing, like, little cute messages for each other, that was also the mod appreciation wall. And so, yeah, whoever wrote that is a certified sex pest. I completely agree, Yasuhara. That has massive sex pest energy. And, yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, there was the mod appreciation wall where people were writing messages appreciating their mods. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. And so, I mean, while I despise this thing in every way, I did write this. Again, I apologize for the terrible lighting. It was very much first come, first served on the, markers, and by the time that I'd gotten there, a lot of them had started to run out, and so there was only like this strange yellow color for me to use. But I mean, it's a nice piss color, I would say. So yeah, I of course wrote a message to my favorite moderator, Thrang, and I wrote, "Thanks for taking the broom so well, Thrang," which I thought is a very fitting message to write for the dear beloved moderator of the virtual asylum, Thrang. And I think the next thing is, yeah, this was another business card that I picked up. And this was a picture that I took just because this was the last of this person's business cards. So I do like the... Wait, is that underboob legal on Twitch? I'm not sure if it is, because didn't Twitch like ban didn't Twitch like ban underboob? But yeah, that is a very nice design. And there was also, I apologize, this was Miss Doyle, Miss Uki. I forget if this was I forget who this was. It is under and side. Rinfred, I haven't seen Thriving very active in the past months. Hope your husband dog is doing okay. I mean, he does perfectly fine. He's very active, just doing other stuff. Oh yeah, this was a VTuber that I met. And this is the back one. Yukimi VT. She was very architectural. Very architectural. Now, I made a joke right at the start of TwitchCon because the VTuber that I met was around 5'5", and she was wearing very high platform heels, like 2 or 3 inch. Not platform heels. No, that isn't that the one that harassed the lollipops. No, different person. I know who you're talking about, but not her. Different person, definitely. Proctor just out here calling women fat with impunity. No, I'm calling them architectural, okay? Anyway, as I was saying, this first VTuber that I met was like 5'5" with 2 or 3 inch, what is it called? Are they, no, ballet boots, I think the BDSM thing. But like the boots with the very high, like, soles on them, like 2 or 3 inch soles. Oh, I know this girl, her rigor is Brazilian. Yeah, she was about the same height, platform shoes, thank you. Yeah, she was about 5'6" at absolute most, and was also wearing massive platform shoes. And just before that, I'd made the joke on Twitter. I figured out that the best way to identify VTubers at conventions is look for the really short women in platform heels and platform shoes. And it's true. It really is true. I didn't mean to be hit with the gift of prophecy when I made that tweet, but yeah, that is absolutely true. So let me have a drink of water. Never mind, this is the girl that I've seen her TTS left and her... do you mean tits or TTS left and right on Twitch? Fat or built like a brick shithouse? She is curvaceous, shall we say. She is... I'm not sure if she... The thing is, the lighting was really bad, so I couldn't actually tell 100%. I think she was, like, very... Like, she was dark-skinned, but I don't know if she was, like, African black. Again, I'm terrible. Tits, Proctor, but YT senses are lame. Okay, I get you. Sorry about that. Yeah, very dark-skinned and very curvaceous. Like, exceptionally curvaceous. And very short. I sent her details to Cubanadom because I just said to him, yeah, you're going to like this VTuber because he really likes architectural VTubers. And yeah, this girl was very architectural. And on the back, this barcode, that goes to her OnlyFans. Oh no, it doesn't go to her OnlyFans. It goes to like her socials, like mega page, which includes her OnlyFans. So yeah. She was very much being open about the OnlyFans kind of stuff. Like, she specifically said, scan this to see something spicy. At what point do the curves converge into an orb? I don't really know what you mean, but very big tits, enormous ass, and, yeah, and I'm not saying that she was not ugly by any means. She was quite physically attractive, and like I am an architectural appreciator. She was quite attractive, and I don't think she was. I forget. No, I don't think she was wearing a mask. Like she was mask off. Like I saw her face and everything, and yeah, I mean nothing to complain about. I don't particularly like OnlyFans people who do OnlyFans, but yeah. I'm sure she does decent business there, because she looks pretty decent. And that was near the end of the first day on Twitch. And no, definitely not an orb. Again, large and curvaceous, but not what I would call ugly, as in, you know, offensively overweight in any way, like that kind of thing. I think that some women look much better with curves than others do. Like, there was one VTuber that I met who was incredibly skinny, like amazingly skinny. I'm gonna post her pic in general thread. Sure, give me a ping when you do, so I can just kind of refresh my memory, because this is a problem. I am almost completely face blind. There's some really complicated technical name for it. I can look at someone's face, and within an hour or so, I've forgotten what they look like. And it's very, very difficult. If you take 2 pictures of the same person and you put them in front of me and say the lighting is slightly different or they're wearing different clothes, I have a really seriously hard time if they look anything... Well, obviously, if they're the same bloody person, I have a really seriously hard time saying for sure if it's the same person. So I genuinely struggle to remember if this person even wore a face mask or not. There's a couple of VTubers that I met who were mask off for most of the time there, and yeah, they were quite pretty as well. There were no, put it this way, there were no outright ugly VTubers at TwitchCon that I saw at all. Like, zero. All of them looked like, at the absolute worst, in the worst lighting possible, a 5 out of 10. Like, every single... And here's the thing. Every single one of them had a boyfriend, too. Like, the whole boyfriend meme is very, very much true. Because I don't think that Yukihime... Let's think... Let me correct that a little bit. All the VTubers that weren't giving out cards with OnlyFans links on them very obviously had boyfriends. This one has a boyfriend. She has talked about it. Okay. Give me just 1 second to look. 1 nanosecond, please. So I'm just gonna ping. Maids, you can upload a video. Yeah, sorry, somebody just pinged me on Discord that I had to pay attention to for a minute. So yeah, every single VTuber there who wasn't overtly shilling their OnlyFans had a boyfriend, and it was very, very obvious. And there was a VTuber that I met up with who had her boyfriend there, and I genuinely... He was very much a model for the kind of boyfriend I would like to be to someone someday. This is a weird thing. I noticed very quickly how a lot of the streamers or the women that were walking around in pairs with a boyfriend, the boyfriend looked kind of awkward. They had the classic kind of autism look about them. They were pretty withdrawn and detached, and they never did things like, say, hold hands with the woman they were with while they were walking around, and they didn't overtly display affection or overtly interact with the woman they were with. Whereas this guy was very, very like intimate with his girlfriend and like holding hands, like just being physically close to her. And I just started watching it after a while, and I was like, God damn, you two are so damn sweet. You are so obnoxiously adorable together. It was really, really lovely. Like, it was genuinely kind of one of those feel-good things where you just look at a pair of people and see, damn, you really do have an amazing relationship. How do you know they were their boyfriends? Because it's bloody obvious. It is extremely bloody obvious. They were aware of the dangers of doing that in public, maybe. I think it was honestly more that they were just autistic, and they just didn't kind of have that wiring in their heads that made them go, yes, this is a woman that I should show physical affection towards. I mean, I'm sure they have sex and everything, but again, I just don't get it. If I had a girlfriend, there is no way I would not be, like, holding her hand in public. I would not be, like... It's showing, obviously, that her and I were an item in public. I find it very strange when men act almost as if they are incidental to the woman they are supposed to be, you know, romantically involved with. It's just very strange to me. I don't really, again, I don't have experience with it because I'm a turbo virgin, but it's just, it goes against my instincts. And the thing is that as a person, I'm pretty touch averse. I don't really like being touched. I have personal space issues, minor personal space issues. I don't really hate having people in close proximity or anything. Magdalenus Rex, I go to an Orthodox church which is very conservative, so I literally cannot find a date because my autism makes it so. I simply find relationships off the table unless they have similar weebish tastes. I get you. I definitely do get you. I think that it wouldn't matter to me too much what... my only real criteria for a woman would be that she has a fluffy tail and ears. No, that she is intelligent. I would rather have a 410 girlfriend with 130 IQ than a 9 out of 10 girlfriend with 100 IQ. Like, I'm sorry, that's just the rules. My girlfriend must be intelligent. She must be able to keep up with me mentally. No questions asked. Dogs are plenty, or maybe they are past the always holding hand part of the relationship. Then their relationship is over as far as I'm concerned. Like, my parents in their 70s still hold hands in public. Unless I'm shagging you or you want to shag me, don't bloody touch me. You're not going to have a particularly fulfilling sex life, I'm afraid. Like, no, physical contact in a relationship equals good. Anyway, let's move on just a tiny bit from that rabbit hole because actually no, because we've got people talking about it now. I want a girlfriend willing to fast and do walks with me. I don't care about genetic looks, more like if they live a dysgenic lifestyle conducive to poor looks. 4'10" is a much more reasonable height than 9 out of 10. I meant 4 out of 10, as in on a physical beauty scale. As opposed to 9 out of... As opposed to... Not talking about 9 foot 10 inches, you nitwit. Are we back? I think we're back. Sorry, OBS Studio disconnected for a second for some reason. Azihara-chan, I need a degen weeb to match my degen weeb. Dude, you're gonna be a virgin for life. Sorry. Yeah, this is where I kind of end TwitchCon for the moment. This is the end of day 1, basically. And there's not actually too many more pictures that I took at TwitchCon because you've kind of seen most of it by now. There was nothing else really that I found worth taking photographs of very much. But towards the end of the second day, we met up with a Gura cosplayer. And she, again, was something like... Again, I'm with a VTuber at this point, and she's like 5'5" in platform heels. Platform shoes? Why do I keep saying platform heels? Yeah, platform shoes. And she, next to this Gura cosplayer, was over a head taller than her. And the Gura cosplayer was also wearing platform shoes. Like, she was the tiniest woman I have ever seen in my life. Literally minuscule. Unironic IRL lolly-coded woman. I mean, fully adult and everything, but absolutely minuscule. And it was really surreal. I mean, she was a perfect Gura cosplayer because, like, Gura's really short in... Well, I say real life, you know, her design is really short. But yeah, this was a minuscule woman. I'm pretty sure she was some flavor of Asian, too. Like, there are some really minuscule Asian women. Imagine... I would like a short stack, okay? If you can give me a really short woman with big tits, that's okay with me, but... Yeah, I mean, I don't buy into the whole nonsense. Oh, if you like short women, then you're a pedophile. That's nonsense, but... Yeah, I mean, a really, really short woman with a flat chest and everything definitely would not be my first choice of woman material, shall we say. Maybe if she's really short and she has, like, decent curves, yeah, I'm still into it. Mate Linus Rex, I saw a guru found that in the wild. I was working and I saw one. The bad thing was this was the day Mume was graduating and I was sort of in a volatile state and not trying to think about it. Rip. Flavor of Asian had a hint of soy sauce if you licked her. Oh, Asihara, please. Please, my good man. Yeah, after Twitchcon the first day ended, I went to a Waffle House with the people that I was with, and we had waffles. Oh my goodness, they were some delicious waffles. Like, really, really, really good waffles. And this was when I realized something very important. I realized that European food is bloody gorgeous. I was incredibly impressed. Incredibly impressed. That in Ireland and in England, restaurant food is shit. I have gone to restaurants in Ireland with 5-star ratings on things like Google Maps and so forth, where people gush over the food and say it's delicious and amazing, and it has been worse than the noodle soups that I can make at home with a bunch of chopped up vegetables, some butter to fry the vegetables in, and then just literally packet noodles and a pair of OXO cubes. Unironically worse food than that. And so I was absolutely blown away by how delicious the food in Rotterdam was. You don't have even have the excuse of having an empire to run anymore. Yeah, I feel genuine pity for the people that go to Birmingham for VExpo, because they are going to have to put up with shit food and insane prices. Pardon me. Food in Birmingham is shit. It is some of the worst food that you will ever get. Like, all the restaurants are bad. And, well, I don't say all the restaurants, because obviously I haven't had all the restaurants, but every meal that I've had in Birmingham has been bad. It's been barely adequate. Like, fill a hole and that's it. That is the prime function of British cuisine, for the most part. I don't understand why British cuisine is so terrible, and it's also outrageously expensive. Sorry, I could go on a tangent there for a long time, but the food in Rotterdam, bloody amazing. Absolutely bloody amazing. And the night after, for the second day of TwitchCon, I wasn't able to eat out with the people that I was with that night, but I went home and... Proctor, how much this woman paid you to shill her OF for so long? I'm sorry, it's just that I haven't had a chance to move on. I like to move on screenshots diegetically. But, yeah, my second night in Rotterdam, I went to a Ethiopian restaurant. And it was this place. Give me 1 second because I will look this place up on Google Maps, because I have it saved, and I will put it in. If anyone is going to TwitchCon next year, then I would enormously recommend this restaurant. Give me a second to just find it on Google Maps, and I can paste the link in the chat. I don't think it'll fit here. Will it just do this if I cut off? It won't do that. That's annoying. I have to do it as this long, stupid link. Is there even... No, it's like a tiny hole-in-the-wall place. Ah, here it is. This will work. This works. Let me just open up live stream chat. And I will just pin this in message. I ate at this restaurant for 3 nights in a row. It was a Ethiopian restaurant, and I loved every single meal. This was the first meal that I had, and they serve it to you. There's no utensils. and you just eat with your fingers. And how you work is you just tear off pieces of this flatbread and you scoop up the food with it. Now, this doesn't look like much, but this was something like 14 euros. And I stuffed myself at this place. It was absolutely beautiful. Some of the most beautiful food I have had in my life. I've discovered a newfound adoration for Ethiopian spices because it is so damn delicious. And yeah, you just break it, you just tear up the flatbread, you scoop up the sauce and everything with your fingers. And it's amazing. It is so beautifully delicious. All of the vegetables, they're fresh, and they also are like drizzled in this strong, spicy sauce, which I found wonderful. Even just the flatbread on its own has this really like rich, it's sourdough, this rich like sourdough taste to it, which I completely loved. This was delicious. I could rave about this restaurant for ages. Do I have a second picture here? Yes, I do. This is, look out, I've doxed my hand. That's terrible. And yeah, you can see you just tear up the bread. And it was this really cute, like, again, you can see this is pretty much the entire restaurant. This is me sat at the very back of the restaurant. And so there's only like a dozen or so tables. It's a tiny little hole-in-the-wall place, but the food is so good. And the staff, like the restaurant owner, I had a pretty decent conversation with him. They're all ethnic Ethiopians, very genuine, lovely people. There's lovely wall art and everything. They have the TV playing like African songs and stuff all the time. And yeah, it's a really lovely vibe, very close to the center of Rotterdam, was only like about 8 minutes or so walk from my hostel. I ate here 3 nights in a row. Every dish that I had was delicious. It was a marvelous, marvelous experience. And that was really the end of the notable things that happened at Twitchcon. I basically just hung out with the VTubers that I was there with, and we had a great time together. Oh, there was a guy, one of their fans met us outside of the convention center, and he had brought along, he was German, and he also was a home brewer. He brought, what was it? I forget exactly what it was. It was some kind of whiskey that he'd made himself. Or not really whiskey. I don't even know exactly what it was. But put it this way, it had a lot of fruit in it. It was very fruity. Very, very fruity stuff. And he had little like serving shot glasses, and he gave me a shot. He gave us a shot of like 2 or 3 different things that he tried, and I tasted it, and it was, oh, this is quite nice. It's quite sweet. So I throw it back. I drink it, and about 5 minutes later, I start to feel weird, because I don't drink. I have a very low tolerance for alcohol as a result of not drinking, because I just have no natural craving for alcohol whatsoever. And I turned to him and I said, so, what exactly was the alcohol percentage of this thing that I just drank? And he said, I think it's about 90%. And I just looked at him and I was like, are you joking? He was like, no, I tested it. It's like 90%. And yeah, this stuff, I have no idea how he managed to make 90% alcohol so incredibly smooth. Like, if you had given it to me and said, like, this is a fruit punch that was maybe 20% alcohol at most, I would have been like, yeah, that tastes like 20% or so. It was the smoothest spirits I've ever had in my life. It was amazing. I've had like very expensive whiskey before. It wasn't even remotely as smooth as this. It went down like water. Friend, and then he woke up tied to a bed with a scar in his stomach. Also, there's an Ethiopian at my church. She's very nice, probably the most outwardly devout parishioner doing full Protestant. prostrations, I almost said protestations. Nice people, cute women. Yeah, I really, really liked these Ethiopians. And there was actually an Ethiopian girl at this restaurant who was really, really beautiful. Like, genuinely gorgeous woman. And yeah, very nice proprietor and everything. Yeah, this guy's alcohol was just amazing, and I'm glad it was only a shot glass of the stuff that he gave me, because if he'd given me, like, a coffee mug full equivalent or something, I would have drunk it and had no idea I was drinking something so strong. And also, I just noticed here as well on this table there is, if you zoom in, this is like the house special honey wine. It was only about €5 for this much. Lovely. Really, really gorgeous, sweet wine. And I had a bottle of it each time that I came here. Oh, wow, that was good. And I walked home rather merry each night. It was a really lovely experience. And yeah, someone earlier in the chat said you were too high to care about the food. I did, in fact, indulge in the weed while I was at Rotterdam. And the funny thing was, honey wine, good God, you were drinking good. Yeah, and it was only like €5 too. It was really cheap for that much. So I did go into a cannabis shop, and I was very disappointed because they had they had brownie stroopwafels. And they didn't have any. If there had been, like, weed stroopwafels, I would have had that. I thought you were turbo anti-weed. See, the thing is, I have never had weed in my entire life. And my attitude towards it was pretty simple. Now, I am a Christian. I am quite a devout Christian. I do not believe in drug taking. However, I will argue this. If I am legally allowed to take ADHD medication, which is literally amphetamines, and I'm also allowed by both the rules of my church and legally to drink, and also take these amphetamines, because again, my church will not complain in the slightest of my ADHD medication, then I do not feel as if my soul is going to be damned to hell if I have one weed brownie to see what it's like while I am away in a country where it is perfectly legal. And that was my justification. Now, hopefully it will stand up to the angels as well as it stands up in my head. But yeah, that was my justification for having a single weed brownie while I was in Rotterdam. If I'm legally allowed to have slaves, Proctor 2025, hey, if they consent... But yeah, the cannabis shop that I went into, it sold weed stroopwafels. They did not have weed stroopwafels. They were sold out, which is very annoying because I like stroopwafels. They are quite tasty. I would quite have liked to have a weed stroopwafel, but they did have like they didn't have weed brownies. They had like weed muffins. Very nice muffin, genuinely very tasty. Now, I was told, do not have an entire, if you're new on weed, do not have an entire edible all at once, because that's quite a high dose. I was massively disappointed by weed. All that happened was I felt about the same as if I had maybe 2 shots of whiskey or something. The first thing I noticed was my depth. This is the weird thing. If I have just about any kind of intoxicant whatsoever, the first thing that goes is my depth perception. Like, I'll stand up and I'll be like, okay, I can't tell if that thing is 1 meter away from me or 10 meters away from me. There is no way that I could ever drive under any sort of influence because it massively tanks my vision, like, terribly. Like, unironically, 1 drink... and there's no way that I would be driving for the rest of the night under any circumstances. It really affects my visual acuity in a strange way. And apart from that, it just made me feel about 40% drunk. It was a nice feeling, I will say. I felt a bit relaxed and a bit more comfortable. I also felt intensely sleepy. Azahara, please do not admit to drunk driving in my stream, thank you. It just made me feel intensely sleepy, and so about 2 hours after I had a weed brownie, a weed muffin rather, I just went to bed. And the only thing that I can really say was different was I had some very vivid dreams. And when I say vivid, I mean quite pleasant dreams. They were a lot more story-orientated. No, I'm not going to blaze it, Cubanotam. I don't believe in smoking. I think that smoking is disgusting, and I would not smoke a joint under any circumstances. I was so desperate for Kira's love. I would say that on the bright side, it's made me understand that, like, people that just have an edible a night, yeah, I don't really consider them to be particularly weird any longer, because I can't imagine that having, like, one muffin a night or one brownie a night would really have that much of an effect on you compared to, like... Again, it was like almost exactly the same effect as maybe 2.5 shots of whiskey, minus the other, like, negative effects of alcohol. So you wait some weed because blazing it is heresy. Yeah, I genuinely do believe that smoking is... I mean, smoking is genuinely a destructive practice. Like, if you smoke, you are damaging your lungs in some way. It is not natural, it is not normal... But if you're just consuming it, yeah, it's not hurting you, okay? It's not doing damage to you in any way. YouTube sniped my comment. The heck? How dare it object to my casual Mud Hut Island mockery? Let me look at because I get I think I get all the chat messages here. So let me just scroll up and see what. No, I did in fact nuke your comment, Ryan. Again, that is the first comment of yours that I can see in this chat history, even if I go to live chat. So yeah, sorry about that. You can hang out with Pipkin and punch cones. Yeah, that's the thing. Some people actually say they take weed to sleep, and I can understand because it just made me very, very sleepy. CBD content is probably what made you sleepy. Yeah, honestly, if I needed to get to sleep, I would say, yeah, weed would be a good way to get to sleep. If somebody handed me an edible, I would say, yep, I'm going to go to bed now, and I'll just have that, and just lie in bed within 10 minutes, within maybe half an hour at most, if I was incredibly insomniac. I would just be asleep and really sleepy. Reinigan, I just said the scrap metal from the car crash might improve the land value from where Azahara is from. Damn, that's hilarious. Yeah, it's really funny to me that YouTube nuked that comment. That's really entertaining. Anyway, let's fast forward a little bit. Oh yeah, this was... Is it still on screen properly? Yes, it is. It was Pride Month, obviously, in Holland. Now, this was another kind of myth thing that I kind of consider busted now that I've been to Germany and Holland. I was told that they go, like, completely crazy for Pride Month. Now, this might just be that they were kind of over the Pride hurdle in terms of, like, its open universal acceptance. There have been, like, massive, massive turns towards the right in Europe over the insanity that has gone on in relation to, like, mutilating children and so on. But I was told from multiple sources, oh yeah, they're, like, incredibly, flamingly homosexual during Pride Month in places like Holland and Germany and so forth. Like, it's really open and liberal, etc. There were, like, 1 or 2 pride flags in one of the towns that I visited, and there was this, like, pride zebra crossing. Apart from that, oh, there was, like, a really disgusting pride drag queen advert on the side of a bin that I saw. Like, a really horrible guy in a mustache and, like, hairy arms in this really, like, fluffy, flowery dress that I was like, yeah, and brilliant red high heels. Yeah, that was pretty disgusting to see. But apart from that, there was very, very little pride presence in Holland that I saw. And an awful lot of the Dutch people that I spoke to, the VTuber that I was, the Dutch VTubers that I was, because there were multiple of them, because yeah, it's Holland, obviously there's going to be plenty of Dutch VTubers. They were very liberal with certain words that you absolutely would not be allowed to say. Like, one of them had a gay companion, and yeah, they openly and casually referred to their gay companion as a bundle of sticks on a regular basis throughout the time that we spent together, and it was extremely funny. I mean, the guy didn't care at all. He absolutely did not care in the slightest about being called a bundle of sticks, but yeah, he was openly referred to in that capacity the entire time that I was there, and it was hilarious the entire time. And I'm just like, wait, wow. It feels really weird to be in the company of people that genuinely don't have a problem with this, and just see it in the way that it should be seen as just words that only have value and meaning if you take them as such. But yeah, I did not expect to find that with the Dutch, but yeah, Dutch people as a whole seem to be very, very based overall. Rin friend, I've only seen one transgender in person. It was a 6'2" obese emo makeup creature. There were a lot of the people of gender at TwitchCon, definitely, and there were quite a few at Dokomi as well, but not quite as much as you thought, as I thought there would be. I was warned by someone in America that, like, Amsterdam was full of gay stuff. I saw none of it in the brief time that I was there. It was very, very... Again, I just like Dutch people. I really do like the Dutch. Netherlands is overwhelmingly atheist, not a fan of them. Yeah, but the thing is, there are quite a few religious people in Holland, and I got along really well with them. Like, I had some really nice conversations. It's like a case of, a lot of them are very, very atheist, but the ones that aren't tend to have a very positive view of religion as a whole, and it's really nice. It's like, there are enclaves. There's, like, the inner cities will be atheist, but, like, I actually asked, I ran across some evangelical Christians while I was in Rotterdam, and I just asked them, hey, what's it like going out and spreading the word in Holland? And they said, it's bad in the cities, but there's an awful lot of religious sentiment in the more rural areas. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Azihara-chan, never seen a trans person IRL, just a bald twink wearing women's clothes. I have seen plenty of transgender people IRL, and yeah, they very much were of the stereotypical variety. I have been napping for nearly 2 hours, and I'm only on the TwitchCon stuff. Is this going to be a double feature? I think it is, because I'm starting to get tired already. This was another one. This was one of the very much stereotypical statues. I think you can tell exactly what this is trying to do. This is one of these, oh, fossil fuels are bad. Look, oh man, it's so awful. Look, there's melting people all over it, and it's oil barrels, and oh, it's like, don't you just want to destroy all of technology everywhere and just go back to living like cave people? The Netherlands have an average population density of 500 people per square kilometer. It basically is a city with a few parks in between. Yeah, and there are rural areas in Holland, definitely. Just like they're less rural than you might consider other places. Looks like AI slop. Yep, it was very much AI slop. That's just it from a few different angles. And these are a pretty famous landmark in Rotterdam that I went to see during my time here. They're really lovely. I took a lot of pictures on the inside. This is the more touristy area of Rotterdam, and you can see because there isn't, like, massive amounts of garbage strewn literally everywhere. And I went around this place a lot. These were designed by an architect in, like, the 1970s or 80s. That statue looks like it would be satisfying to hammer. I agree. maybe someday. And these are very nice. Just different angles on this. This is the inside in like the courtyard area. This is all like a 360 that I did of the place. That's not me, by the way. That's just random tourists. And they're really nice. They're beautifully preserved on the inside. The design is really lovely. And there was a souvenir shop that I bought a couple of cards in. Cute, really cute little space. Lovely plants as well. This is the interior now. You can see from the slanted windows. Yeah, this is the FAQ, frequently asked questions. This was Piet Blom, and that's 1982. Price 380,000. Pretty not too bad for an inner city place. I would live here, honestly. Occasionally rented out. For creative, flexible, and open-minded people. People can come back and look at that on the VOD if they want to, if they for some reason want to read it. And these are just the interior space. I'm going to rest my voice for a few minutes, because for a little while, because I've been nattering so much. This is the interior space. Okay, do not lay down. There's another thing about about Holland. All of the signs are dual language. This is obviously Dutch, and that's English. English is like universal in Holland. Everything has its English equivalent. It defeats the purpose of tying "fac" if you type the full words after. These are just like these are the things that, there's a couple of these that I had to edit out because, yeah, they show my reflection. Niet op het bek liggen. Just random interior shots. I really like this glassware. This glassware was really nice, and if I could have bought some and taken it home, I would have, but unfortunately that was not going to be a thing. Really pretty interior spaces. Brought back any tulips from Holland? No, I'm afraid not. We've got there's plenty of plants. I've got 2 acres or more, nearly 3 acres worth of garden to tend, so yeah. This was a random pigeon that I had a brief commune with. So that is a widgeon. They only have 1 leg, that's why it's sitting down, poor thing. This was near like the Great Market area. And this thing was the second piece of absolutely gorgeous cuisine that I had while I was in Holland. This is a duck burger. It's a duck burger with cheddar cheese. It was bloody delicious. One of the nicest burgers that I've had in my entire life. No, the nicest burger that I've had on my entire life. It was truly delicious. And by this point, I'm like, hell yeah, I like the food in Rotterdam a tremendous amount. No, Proctor fattening people is only cool with women. Shut up. I definitely... See, the thing is, I was walking a good 5 to 8 kilometers every single day that I was in Europe, so I don't think I put on weight, but... I mean, the thing was, I came back home and I'm like, oh wait, the food is crap. I don't want to eat anything now. So, yeah, my diet is pretty self-limiting at the moment. And this is the Rotterdam Maritime Museum, which is another cute place that I took quite a few pictures of. And I'll just scroll through now while resting my voice a little bit. Some very nice old boats. I wonder what Gruno means. I'll get my mouse out of the way. Cute little houseboat. I would love a houseboat like this. Well, this isn't a houseboat, but you know what I mean. Actually, you probably could fit a tiny little living space in there. Just drift around. That'd be cute. Have you ever had doner kebab? I think more of a German thing, but maybe. I've had a few opportunities to have a doner kebab, but they've all been like low-end places, and I haven't really wanted it. doner kebab is Turkish. Yeah. I thought this one was quite cute too. Just a little hot tub. This was another little... I like... I've never actually been on one of these, but I really should. At least every single place that sells it here in JP is Turkish. It's a small cabin cruiser. It's the sort of boat you use for weekend camping. Ah, cute. Learn to cook, not crap. I cook good meals. It's just that I don't often want to cook large meals for myself. I cook very good food, thank you very much, but over here I could just walk into a shop and buy really good quality produce. So I'm just like, yeah. Why would the restaurant food and stuff here is crap compared to over there. This was actually a decent piece of artwork that had survived the SJWification of things. Made with actual skill and ability. Not quite sure what it represented. I mean, I think this is the guy's spine here. He is missing his spine at the moment. Yeah, this was the difference. This was in 1961 compared to what it's like at the moment. 1970. And then 1976. Just a few cute little holiday photos. So let me just look through the rest of the ones that I have here. One moment, please. Proctor was already European, just the British Isle variety. He's German missing a spine. This was a disappointment. This is like a tourist attraction in Rotterdam. It's literally just a bunch of like middle-scale shops in an underground area. Very boring. Do not recommend. Just ignore it. Just go to a restaurant instead. Although it did have some rather pretty flowers when I was there. No, yes, there were some nice little art galleries that I went to with some very pretty paintings. That was beautiful. It looks photorealistic, but that is actually a painting. Oh, look at that. That is so beautiful. And obviously this is just through a crappy phone camera, so it's going to look a lot better in reality. Oh, hey there, aquatic invertebrate. Nice to see you. Like, look at the detail on those flowers. That is just so lovely. If I could paint like this, I can't. There's even a cute little turkey in the background. I love art like this. And the beautiful little thing. That is just such a lovely, lovely painting. And again, this is a painting, not a drawing. And this was taken through a window as well, so I'm amazed it came out this good. Like, you imagine how long it would have taken to paint this kind of thing. Them really cute little... This is 3D, obviously, just all these little pieces just made up out of bits of wood. It's just lovely, bros. This was another really nice, same style. Really gorgeous painting. I mean, I don't like the tattoos, but if I had this guy's figure... I mean, I'm not too far off this kind of figure, actually. I'm getting definitely some very nice muscles on my arms. And one guy you didn't buy a watercolor from is going to turn into the next Hitler. Guild Mage Troy, we have one of those in Houston. It's mostly a novelty of having a pedestrian tunnel in a swamp. We evacuate the stores and use it for flood control whenever the storms get bad. Damn. It's a nice one. Oh, I love this one. You can see they've taken like birds' eggs and they've hollowed them out and they've added in little gardens. That is so cute. That is so incredibly cute. I build model kits, and so I can appreciate just how much autism is required to moist critical cleaning up. I really love how I love how you have Rin Friend up here saying that painting feels deeply spiritual. I wonder what's behind each piece. And then we have Hot Dogs Aplenty here saying moist critical cleaning up trash. Like the juxtaposition between the two, that just is incredibly funny to me. Oh, and here we're back at the Ethiopian restaurant again. This was the second night that I was there, and this is a chicken curry this time with a egg and some lentil dal on the side, and this was another absolutely delicious meal. Scale models are nice. Yeah, they're lovely. And after that is Magdalenus Rex was talking about this. This was one of the churches that I saw in... Actually, no, where is this exactly? Yeah, this is... Oh, yeah, this is in Gouda. This is in Gouda. You know Gouda cheese? After Twitchcon, I went to Gouda. Gouda is a beautiful, beautiful little town. I took dozens and dozens of photographs here, and we're going to go through them. That church looks extremely plain. Yeah, and I like it. I like it a great deal. I love these style of churches. I really despise English churches because they're all really gaudy and they're incredibly, like, they have tons of icons and, like, gargoyles and reliefs and frescoes that I just find very garish and unpleasant to look at, whereas this style of architecture I quite like. It's unostentatious, but it's got nice contours on it. It's got that sharply angled roof. It's got those beautiful... Look at how well maintained this is. Look at how beautifully maintained. Like every single tile. The tiles aren't even dirty. This must have been cleaned fairly recently. Just look at how nice it is. Like, it's so nice. That was Gouda in a nutshell. That was just so beautiful. And here was the weird thing. So I'm just walking through Gouda, and I come to a gift shop, and I walk into the gift shop, and look, this is what was in a random Gouda gift shop. No, it's not inside the church, this is a random gift shop. I'll just scroll through quickly so you see what was in there. And then we'll start back here. First of all, I walk in and I'm confronted by this, which I'm really annoyed that I couldn't buy, because again, this was far too big for my suitcase. A really lovely... I did not expect to see a random Gundam... Well, obviously, it's from the Gundam franchise. Mobile suit in a gift shop. Okay. And then I look further. This isn't a particularly brilliant photograph, but... Yeah, there's a bunch of weeb stuff here. Look, they've got Evangelion down here. That's the... that's holographic IO. That's holographic.o or something or other. That's the business, that's the number. The name, rather. And it's weeb stuff. Just like multiple things of weeb stuff. That's a better one. Like, you've got these stickers and everything here. I bought 2 pins from this, from the display that he has there. I think they were down here somewhere. That were both like, yeah, it was the Sazabi and it was the new Gundam. Now we have this, which is, yeah, more weeb stuff with a bit of furry nonsense mixed in. I don't know who... Oh, yeah, I bought this. Can you see this? It says, I can fix them. I bought this pin. It just reached out to me, and I was like, yeah, I need this. I need this in my life immediately. Hello, Tamoki. Nice to see you. So I just reached out, and I was grabbed by this. Yeah, and this is kind of furry stuff. And you gotta have the cringe, no AI art nonsense. A bit of a Cal Arts. I think that's Dungeon Meshy stuff there. A bit of a... I didn't really like this guy's stuff, but I think he was the one that sold the I Can Fix Them pin, which I did buy. And this is just random Gouda architecture that I started taking pictures of as I was walking along the streets. A really lovely little picturesque town, like tons and tons of flowers everywhere. Really pretty. I'm going to scroll through these fairly fast because I took a lot of them. This was really beautiful. That a lovely mosaic statue right there. You can see it's really picturesque, like a vast difference from Rotterdam, which was really, really ugly for the most part. Lovely, beautifully walkable. This, I think everything is incredibly walkable in European cities, as I've noticed. Beautiful, beautiful architecture. Let's scroll back to that one again. Lovely canals. Just a beautiful place to be. After all of the massive sensory overload and like weed halo that was Rotterdam, being able to go to Gouda and just walk along these picturesque little streets and enjoy myself with all of the beauty surrounding me, this was a massive necessary detoxification, and I just enjoyed myself so much. It's a beautiful, beautiful poppy there. You can see these lovely little cobbled streets and everything. Just took a walk through the center of the town. So another little, there's another little church. You can see it through the trees there. More lovely architecture. Moral of the story, life is better when you get off the internet, take a walk, and go to talk to people who are not from the internet. I agree completely. It was just a really lovely space. You got these beautiful flowers everywhere. Like, all of the houses had these climbers cultivated up the sides of them. It was just so sweet. It was really quiet too, whereas Rotterdam is so damn noisy all the time. Just so much noise. This was another building that I really liked. Again, I love these cathedrals that you can see. There's like that's not even a cross. That's just like a gable or something on the end there. Like no really ostentatious religious iconography, just really, really lovely architecture that is just like, yeah, I like this. It's just really, really good. It just feels really good to walk through. Are you saying blue sky isn't real life? I know. Like, actually, you can see a pride flag like back here. This is one of the only times I saw a pride flag in all of Holland. And keep in mind that Rotterdam is a college town too, so it's going to be mega posed in like the colleges. But no, they just didn't give a damn. It's a really lovely space here. And I went to this. Is this that's not the one. This was a Gouda museum as well. I didn't go into this one. I did go in briefly, and it was this really nice warehouse interior. Look at that mural. Look at that relief. That's just beautiful. I love Gothic architecture like Cologne Cathedral and Gdańsk Cathedral in Russia. I have not been to Cologne, but since it's right outside Dusseldorf, I probably could go the next time I'm going to Dokomi, because, my goodness, I'm going to Dokomi next year. This was the back of the cathedral space. Again, just lovely architecture. It's funny, I appreciate VTubers with good architecture, and I also appreciate architecture in real life. So, yeah. The duality of man. Tons and tons of bicycles everywhere. More really nice, just picturesque kind of placing. Are you saying Gouda? Yes, Gouda, like the cheese. And, oh yeah, I'll just scroll back here. This is the outside of the Gouda Museum, where it talks about, where it's an art museum. It's not about the cheese. There's several cheese museums, but I actually went more for the cultural kind of stuff. So this is the entrance to the Gouda General History Museum. And it also is an art gallery too. And the moment I walked into this place, this is underneath, this is the torture chamber, as you may be able to see. And the moment I saw this, I went to Kirsch's Discord, and I added her in her NSFW channel, and I said, hey, I found where your psychopath ex-boyfriend that you said was really into BDSM like hangs out nowadays. Cause yeah, this is the torture chamber. Did you eat any cheese? No, I don't like Gouda, I'm afraid. And yeah, here's the wooden horse that I'm sure you have all seen in far too many dojins. And there's all the leather straps and stuff. Yeah, not the nicest thing. And that's the little box. This is Honey's box. In the US, they pronounce it Gouda. Now, in the Euroland, you pronounce it Gouda with the U. And this is Honey's box. That's where she's kept when she's not streaming. Of course, and a nice rack of historical weapons that they used to poke people with. And actually, I just realized I need to AFK for like 30 seconds to go to the bathroom, so I will be right back in like 5 seconds. I will let you stare at this. Actually, let me go on for... You can stare at this picture for 5 minutes. Well, not 5 minutes, but like 30 seconds, so I'll be right back. Just give me a moment, guys. Hello, I have in fact returned. Oh. I'm also conscious that it's 2:15. I've been streaming for nearly 2.5 hours now. And I haven't even gotten to Dokomi yet, so I'm going to skip over the rest of what I did in Gouda, because it's mostly just an enormous number of pictures of art. And give me a moment to scroll forwards, and we can talk more about my trip in Germany, so that we don't end up just talking about the Gouda Art Museum for the next hour or so, because my goodness, I went out of my way to take pictures of this place. Oh yeah, there is this word that's worth showcasing, because... Let me just go here. Do you think VHosho will die soon? No, I don't think so. I think they're just restructuring, honestly. Also known as Hell Europe. We'll get there. We'll get there. But there's this this was another part. I went back through the Gouda Gouda gift shop with the weeb stuff, and there was this. This is an artist called Mimi Chair. You can see that there, and she did a whole ton of stuff, really cute art pieces. And I'm bringing her up for a specific reason, as we shall discover later. As you can see, some very cute stuff here. I like these pictures a lot. Very, very cute art. Let me just quickly check my Discord to make sure I'm not missing anything important, because I, of course, have had like 3,000 pings while I've been streaming. Nope, we're good. Yep, very cute style, very sweet designs, very traditional style, which I approve of. Sorry guys, let me just make sure that all of this is properly lined up. And yeah, this is, she's also done some Iron Mouse art, some VTuber art, which is also quite cute. Nice sparkly cards too. And this was also something that was rather pretty that I saw. I'm a very big fan of jewelry and so on, so I'll take quite a lot of pictures of them. And that's just a random picture of pedestrians. I'm not sure why I took that one. But yeah, this was me buying after I bought the I can fix them pin that I sent to somebody as a means of identifying who I was. And now we get to the German part of my European excursion. And so after TwitchCon, I spent like an extra 3 days in Holland. And then on the late Wednesday, I took a train from Rotterdam to Dusseldorf. Once again, it was a very easy and smooth access to Germany. That I was told, again, once again, I was told, oh, there, your passport and stuff will get checked on the train. Bloody nonsense. I just got on the train, I went to Germany, and I got off in Germany. There was no issues whatsoever, and the people that told me to be careful were talking out their ass, basically. I get into Dusseldorf, I get off the train station, I instantaneously get hassled by a beggar, who, in fairness, was the only beggar who accosted me during my time in Germany, so I just gave them a fiver and shooed them away. It was a rather desperate-looking woman, so I didn't mind too much giving her a little bit of money. A lot of people just ignore them. Unfortunately, I was raised to have a lot of empathy for people like that. Who are you hearing all this information from? Do they not know how the Schengen works? Just people in general that have been to Germany before and other places. But and I don't, again, none of it seemed to apply to me, so I don't care. I was told that Dusseldorf didn't have much architecture worth noting, and I agree, there wasn't a huge amount worth noting, but there were a few things, like, for example, these rather nice crossing guards near the parks. Dusseldorf does have quite a lot of nice, big central parks, which were very pleasant to cohabitate and move around in. It does have some rather crazy modern architecture. This is what I saw walking through just the center of Dusseldorf on my way to my hotel. Oh, sorry, just give me a second, guys. My intercom is going off. Sorry, guys, that was just my mother calling me over the intercom to tell me that she had very kindly closed down all of the bird hutches so I wouldn't have to go about it. Wasn't it firebombed to ash in the 40s? Yes, and that is why there is very little old architecture in Dusseldorf. Pretty much every single building was built after World War II. Yeah, I know, Tiny Kusa, I didn't expect much, but even so, again, this was a very clean city. Compared to Rotterdam, this place looked like it had been sandblasted clean and then vacuumed up. It was very clean, very neat, very orderly, and it was my first exposure to, like, mainstream German culture. Like, that's a very nice building. There are some really nice I love these. It's the thing that I really miss about modern architecture. There's nothing like this, where it's just like detail for detail's sake. We need to have more detail for detail's sake in our lives. Murray, I want to shoot you for that retarded pun. Oh yeah, random person vaping. There were almost no vapors in either Germany or... See, the difference between Europe and Ireland is that Ireland allows vaping to a much greater extent than Europe. And it was really noticeable instantaneously because I'm very used to people vaping in Ireland, and very few people actually use regular cigarettes any longer. Whereas, obviously, as we saw at the beginning in Rotterdam, massive amounts of smoking all over the place, basically no vapes in sight. There were a few more in sight in Germany, but also vastly less smoking, and also they keep banning the flavors in mainland Europe because they think of the chillins. I mean, I was told several times by people that there was a genuine problem with children smoking vaping stuff, and I do agree. Apparently, from people that I've spoken to with vaping, they say that it's extremely easy to get hooked on it without even realizing, because it is just much easier and simpler than smoking a cigarette. So I think there is reason to ban it, but also people said that it's basically just the tobacco lobby in places like Holland and so on saying, yeah, ban vapes, but let us continue to sell tobacco and cigarettes. This was one of the first because, yeah, Dusseldorf has what is called Little Tokyo, and I went to Little Tokyo before I went to my hotel or anything else, and Little Tokyo has a lot of traditional Japanese shops as well as like weeb stores. I went into the first weeb store, I opened the door, and then I immediately walked out again because I was hit by this wave of body odor, and I was just like, nope, I am not going to be going into this space anytime soon. And so instead I went across the way and I went into the Japanese antique store. And I saw these beautiful, beautiful little glass cups. And there's a hell of a lot of this kind of stuff here. This is all Japanese pottery, antique Japanese pottery. All very expensive. All very expensive. Like, that's 139, that's 89 euro. But these designs are beautiful. I love these. Really, really, really beautiful ceramics. Like, look at this. Look at the silver etching on that. It's a sake set. That's lovely. And you have stuff like these cute little things. It's like chopstick sets. More ceramics. You're going to see a lot of ceramics, obviously, from this shop. Lovely little worked metallic bowl. Does that say... Oh yeah, 1390. I thought it said 1,390 for a second. These are really pretty too, like little ceramic origami birds. Guildmage Troy, the main problem with vapes is pneumonia and popcorn lung popping up in the 20s. It's not safe, it just has different risks. Yeah, a lot of people said that as well. There are some people that tried vaping and like deliberately quit it because they realized how much of a problem it was becoming for them. Like people that can smoke but have like 1 or 2 cigarettes a day or even like a week were saying that when they tried vaping, they realized they were vaping pretty much 24/7. And so they actually found it more healthy to just have cigarettes instead because there was the physical act of smoking was big enough of a disruption that that they were able to control it to a degree, whereas they couldn't with vaping. If you're inhaling hot gas into your lungs, you're retarded. The rest is details. I do agree. That's why when I had weed in Rotterdam, I had just a brownie. Because, yeah, I'm not taking hot gas into my lungs under any circumstances. Thank you very much. Oh, I love these. These are lovely. I love their gold, like, lacquered pottery. These are just so beautiful, guys. I would love these. If I had my own place and a sufficient income, I would absolutely collect Japanese pottery because it is so beautiful. And then more of these really cute little bowls. I love Japanese designs so much. And then you have these lovely lacquered bowls as well. Look at that. Look at the color on that. And be aware that all of this looks much more beautiful in real life too. This looks stunningly more vibrant and detailed in real life compared to just this crap phone camera. But look at the color gradations on this, how the black fades into this rich like cherry red, and then it washes out a little bit and then it darkens back in. Like, I have done several years of ceramics training. This is hard work. You have to work a very great deal to get results like this. That is some beautiful detail. And same with here, this kind of crystalline effect on the surface. That's beautiful. I just love Japanese pottery. Oh yeah, and this was the other restaurant that I went to. Allow me to do the same thing here, where... Yes, this was saved in Dusseldorf. Does it have a website? MyNoodleHouse.de. Yeah, this was the other place that I went to for food while I was in Dusseldorf. This is a traditional... I forget what it's called exactly. It's some kind of rice dish. Where on earth is my stream chat? MyNoodleHouse.de. Let me just replace the other link. This was where I went to eat when I was in Dusseldorf. This is in Little Tokyo. Actually, it's a little way off the main thoroughfare of Little Tokyo in Dusseldorf, so it's not quite as packed as the regular, like, high street of Little Tokyo. And once more, it sold very, very good food. I was recommended it by a VTuber who specifically said that she ate at this place while she was at... Dokomi in previous years. It is like almost 20-year-old establishment, and it's like a walk-in noodle kitchen where they prepare the food right in front of you, so you get to watch the whole process. Everything is made fresh, and the proprietor is a really great guy, because the second day that I went to this noodle house, there were already a long line of weebs that were standing outside waiting for a table. But when he saw me, the proprietor of this place immediately left the counter, walked out to me on the street and said, "Hey, are you here to eat again?" And I said yes. And he brought me in past the rest of the queue and sat me down next to the, counter. Specifically because he recognized me. And I'm just like, mate, you just earned yourself a 5-star rating on, like, TripAdvisor or whatever, because, like, that kind of customer service, that earns loyalty. And I was really sad that I couldn't go, because I went the first day I was in Dusseldorf, and I went the third day I was in Dusseldorf. I couldn't go the second day for reasons that we will discuss. But yeah, this was all before I went to Dokomi itself. Sorry, I got a bit of wind. Oh dear. I do hate that. And so yeah, this was a really lovely place. This is some kind of very, like, sweet and strong sauce. I'm not entirely sure what it's called, but it is delicious, and I want more of it. And then you have more rather nice cathedrals that, again, are very... They don't have religious iconography on them at all, which I approve of, and I really like the abstract kind of tiled architecture. And it's not tiling. I don't know what... Is it tiling? I don't know, but yeah, very attractive, very nice. And, of course, we have birds. We have these things. When I went through the Central Park in Dusseldorf, there were these rather lovely geese, and they had lots of little goslings running around. They were very cute and adorable, and I was able to feed them a little bit. They were very, very tame. I could get very close to them, which was really sweet. I've got a lot of pictures of them, and I also saw this. This is a moorhen. Clicking the link in YouTube chat gives me an error. Control pasting it into the browser gets me there. I don't know why that happens, I'm afraid. No idea. This is a moorhen and then a moorhen's chick. I have never seen a moorhen with chicks before in Ireland, but this was a cute little thing that was walking around with the other birds. You can see it there. It's a cute little bird, a very cute little bird, and that's the mother right there, and that's her one singular chick. It's wandering around making a very strange noise. They make very, very bizarre little kind of clucking and squeaking noises. And after this, I then went to my hotel. I slept in my hotel. Nothing particularly interesting happened. Oh, these pigeons are very grabbable. I was able to grab many of these pigeons. Like, very, very easy to seize, to snatch. Pigeons really are some of the, like, most pathetic creatures in the world because they're very kind of dopey and silly, and you can pick them up very, very easy. Just kind of run your hand along behind them because they don't have 360-degree vision, and you just like yoink. And I yoinked several pigeons in this park. It was quite entertaining and a fun way to pass time. Of course he takes bird pictures. Of course I'll take bird pictures. You didn't steal any to take home, I hope? Nope. There's plenty of pigeons in Ireland. And the next photograph is from when I woke up and started to go to Dokomi. My hotel was the Doria. That was about 2.5 kilometers from the Dokomi building itself. And I got up at like 8 a.m. and I went down, I bought something in the nearby supermarket, and I then went to queue up for public transport. There is count it, one bus to and from the Dokomi Convention Center. Did I mention the Dokomi last year had an attendance of 200,000 people? Are you seeing the problem at this point? Yeah. I took one look at the bus and I decided to walk. Dusseldorf has subways. You're meant to use the subways, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's only one subway train to and from the convention center as well. And it's a 15-minute walk from the last station you get off at to the convention center itself. It has shit public access. I can't believe how bad the public access is. There are 2 metro lines going to the convention center, actually. Yeah, they're a 15-minute walk from the convention center to the metro line. So it doesn't go to the door at all. It doesn't go to the entrance at all. That's what I meant. Your only option is to either go on the bus, which does take you to the front door, one bus, or there are 2 metro lines that take a 15-minute walk to the convention center. Of the pigeon family, I enjoy mourning doves the most. They're pretty and not ruined by urbanization like regular pigeons. I agree, mourning doves are really, really sweet. A 15-minute walk is nothing. I mean, yeah, a 15-minute walk is nothing, I do agree, but keep in mind that I don't consider a 15-minute walk to a convention center that is expecting 215, that was the total, that was the rough attendance of Dokomi 2020-2025. I think you need better public access than a total of 3 vehicles and that much. Like, imagine walking with 20,000 people to and from a convention center. Even a 15-minute walk is going to be a long, long way, and there's going to be a lot of pressure. Now, the Metro 78 goes inside the hall. It lies. It doesn't. Like, nobody, that wasn't available to anyone. Nobody was using that. Sorry, let me check a ping on Discord. Okay, we're good. But yeah, I walked the first day. I did brave the public transport the second day, but I set out from my hotel because I was walking everywhere in Europe, and I had a great time walking in Europe because the cities are all so incredibly walkable, and so I walked the 2.5 kilometers, and it was fine. But there was a weird thing. Let me just scroll forward. Yeah, this thing that I noticed on one of the random, I want to say signposts? No, it's not a signpost. It's a lamppost. Yeah, it says, enlist today, fight rightism, fuck Nazis. Now, guys, there's a certain something about this poster that I want you to think about for a second. What is the problem here, okay? Yeah, I know, see another movie, it's Star Wars. What is the problem here? What is the issue? Just think about it for a second. While I have a drink of water. Yeah. Now, either this is very bad, like, framing, but it looks here as if, like, the stormtroopers are supposed to be the good guys. Because, like, why would you have a fuck Nazis on an ATST? Like, that looks as if it's... as if you're like going, yeah, the Empire were in the right. Now, if this was, like, rebel forces, at least it would be on message, but... like, this is just baffling to me. Why would you make this? It's so confusing. It would be like, I don't know... you know, staging an AT-AT, sorry, an AT-ST is a two-legged one. And look, I haven't watched Star Wars in literally over a decade and a half, alright? My lore is not exactly up to scuff. Also, note the 1312 ACAB, all cops are bastards on the stormtroopers. They love totalitarianism, it's a self-report. Yeah, it's just so weird. Why would you do this? Why would you do this? So after all this, we finally get to Dokomi, and yeah, I've already mentioned the whole 215,000 attendance. Has anyone here been to Dokomi before? Like, do we have any people that were actually at Dokomi or have been to Dokomi in previous years? If they weren't stupid, they wouldn't be socialists. They're far-left authoritarians, most certainly. Sorry, I'm just having a little snack of something. Well, I've been last year and the year before. That's half the population of Dusseldorf. Dusseldorf has like several million people, doesn't it? I forget exactly, but yeah, Dusseldorf isn't, like 200,000 isn't like half the population of Dusseldorf. It's going to be larger than that. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. It's not exactly like I looked up a population census. Yeah, there was 215,000 people at Dokomi this year. 500,000. Wow. Oh, I didn't know it was that small. It didn't feel that small. Like, it felt like a fairly large city, honestly. And, so, first of all, Dokomi has a very simple attendance system where you just have a barcode, and when you go in and out of the building... an attendant just scans your barcode and waves you straight through. There's no identification of any sort apart from that ticket, which I massively approve of. I really hate how Places like Twitchcon and so on have like much more invasive methods of ID where you have to carry around like this lanyard with your name on and everything. Nothing like that in Dokomi. You could be totally anonymous and everything, and I really appreciated that. It was very nice. Sorry, 1 second. Ah. And so the first place I go to is the Artist Alley, or one of the Artist Alleys, and my goodness. I spent an entire day walking around just the Artist Alley in Dokomi, and I think I saw maybe half of what there was on offer. There was just so much. And ironically, the very first picture that I took in all of Dokomi was this. Brain rot buttons. Mommy, I killed your senpai. Wage slave, don't talk to me. Feeling cunt today. Thick thighs save lives. Cat boys are ruining my life. I speak cuddling. NTR broke. I had a good poo today. Wood smash. Himbo. Oh, that's disgusting. Degenerate. MILF and cookies. Baby girl. Crybaby. Head empty. I'm not sure what that says. Willy and Billing? You're going to see a theme in Dokomi. Now, fortunately, there was a large amount of content that was not Fujoshi focused. But I would say a good 50% of all of the content in the Artist Alley was Fujoshi focused. And they also had an R18 area that was 80% Fujoshi focused. And this was the second photograph that I took. Unfortunately, this was 25. That was a very good price, actually. This was quite, but unfortunately, this was quite large. And I think you can tell why I wanted to buy this. Hello, Rave Master J. Nice to see you. It is indeed a long time no see. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was a 5-tailed kitsune, so unfortunately not the mythical 9 tails. But yeah, I would definitely have bought this for €25 if I could have fitted it in my suitcase. But unfortunately, it was just a bit too large, and there were many things that I wanted to buy at Dokomi. It's done on velvet. If not, it should be. Unfortunately, a pretty crappy photograph. It was a very nice painting in real life, but the photograph kind of ruins it a bit. It washes out the colors. And this was the first cosplayer that I took a picture of. I took a picture of quite a few cosplayers while I was at Dokomi. I tried my best to only photograph the women as opposed to the many men walking around in dresses at Dokomi. But I really liked this cosplayer's outfit because that is a really nice, complicated design. Like, you've got these really nice, you could have taken it to post and mailed it home. A bit too much work, honestly, a bit too much effort. She had a very nice, like, these were the proper metal, crafted clips, and then you've got the nice little jewelry pieces and accessories, and then down here you've got the very nice shoes and even like the ankle chains. Yeah, this was really, and this was proper like a gold edging and lacing. It wasn't just some cheap crappy Chinese thing. I don't know how much she spent on this cosplay, but yeah, very intricate, very beautiful. I complimented her thoroughly on how lovely her outfit was. No idea who the character is, but Guildmate Troy, I've had to stand outside the Yaoi Theatre at one convention 15 years ago when it was still otaku culture. My condolences to your sense of hearing and your ass. This was just a random person that I took a photograph of because they didn't have any business cards left. This place I really liked. This was Tamashi Designs. Do they have a website, actually? Tamashi Designs. Tamashi Design. I think they only have Instagram. No. Tamashi Designs shirt. That's really annoying. Why can't I find... Well, their name on Google is pretty crap anyway. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, Tamashi... Yeah, Tamashi Design is right there. That's their trademark thingy. And they had tons of t-shirt designs that I quite liked. Not really the kind of thing that I would wear necessarily, but I really like pretty much all that they made. So I didn't get the cutoff one, Internal Screaming. I almost bought that one. The Scourge of the Yaoi Paddle. Sorry, let me just open a window because it really is getting hot in here. It's very annoying. Sultry and heated. Ugh. There we go. That's just a random thing. This was a guy that I met who did like graffiti style art. I wasn't really interested in his art, but he was a pretty cool guy. So, yeah, there's his, like, barcode. Not sure if that barcode actually works or not, but he was a cool guy, and he gave me a free sample, which was cute. Oh, yeah, this was the t-shirt at Tamashi Designs that I really, really loved. I would have bought this, except they only had, I think they only had small and extra large. I am, like, straddling the border between medium and large. So, unfortunately, these were either far too small or they are far too large. But this design... They also had a keychain design for this. I bought the keychain. I love the keychain. And in fact, I think I prefer this as a keychain than as a shirt, because it's more discreet. And these are a bit too garish to be worn as, like, shirts publicly. No XXL, I don't think so. I didn't ask, but they just said, yeah, we've only got, like, small or XL left. There was an awful lot of jewelry at Dokomi as well, and I bought these. It was quite funny because I sent these to someone, and they were almost immediately... They said, like, oh, I don't like that. It feels weird to wear a... dead butterfly around your neck, but I really liked them. They were really pretty. This was my favorite. A really cute design. It was really pretty, and they were fairly cheap too. I almost bought one, but I was like, at the end, not quite. XXL is a cheap man's wall decoration. That's actually not a bad point. That's not a bad point. I might actually... That's pretty sensible, actually. If I ever see a shirt design that I really like and would like to hang on a wall, that's not a bad idea. I'll keep that in mind. Let me just scroll back through these photographs 1 second to see where I am in the context of everything else. Okay, we're good. And also, this was a Chocola. She does a massive amount of Phase merch as well. Phase Connect, Hollow EN, Indie VTuber. Her stall was really, really nice. She'll be at VExpo as well, I think. So I will be dropping by her stall too. Those are nice. That person is crazy. And, oh, now this is actually Korean rather than Japanese, but these are the pictures that turned out the worst on camera, unfortunately. You can kind of see a tiny bit of how beautiful these are on the camera, but in real life, these are stunningly beautiful little pieces. They're little hand lacquered Korean boxes. I love them. These are some of my favorite things that I saw in all of Dokomi. And unfortunately, they were too big and they were too expensive for me to buy. This was like €100 to buy this one. and there were several other designs that were slightly cheaper. Yeah, you can see the kind of metallic, reflective mother of pearl. Yeah, mother of pearl inlay. These are all, and yeah, at the front you can see the mother of pearl reflections on it. Again, it was almost impossible to get the camera to pick any of this up, so unfortunately it doesn't really. These are ruined by the photographs. They are beautiful in real life. I would have bought. If I had enough money, I would have unironically bought all of these. I would have bought that one, I would have bought this one, and I think I've got another one in the next picture too. This was the one that I would have bought. It was only about €50. But again, it was just slightly too large for my suitcase, which pissed me off. Yeah, Pipka? I don't recognize you. Nice to meet you in this chat. Like, look at that. That is so beautiful. And like, every which way you turn your head, it's got this reflective quality that it shimmers as you move your head. It's got this beautiful like oil slick shimmer that runs across the box as you move your head from side to side, and the light catches it from different angles. I love them. They are so beautiful. I would fill my house with these if I could. But sadly, a bit too expensive and a bit too inconvenient. In fact, although I've seen some of these at like charity stores before. If I see them at charity stores again, oh my goodness, I'm getting them no matter the cost. God damn it, I'm so hot. And then I started coming across the VTuber section. This design is adorable. It's really cute. I don't know what VTuber it is. Like, maybe there's some detail in the background here. Oh, yeah. Bambari, I think, is the name. Oh, no, that's just a random stall, I think. But that's a lovely character design. Unfortunately, I hope that it's not like cunny pilled or anything, the person playing them or whatever. But yeah, that's a really, really lovely, cute design. And then I'm pretty sure this guy is fairly famous. I forget what this VTuber is called, or the artist or whatever. They also do some really, really sexy Aurora art. I really love Aurora's design. That is easily one of the sexiest in Hololive. That was lovely. And then there's tons of German VTubers. They were some of the biggest German VTubers out there, with like minimum like 3 views, some are decent 4 views. But I like their designs, but again, the language barrier, yeah, Daya. And then we had things like this. There were enormous clothing stores throughout all of Dokomi. I would love to say what I bought, but I'm going to be wearing it at VExpo, and I don't want to give too much away. But yeah, I bought something at one of these clothing stores because I found it just so gorgeous. Where on earth am I? I'm just going to kind of treat care of myself and know what's coming up ahead. This was another artist who does very lovely, like, I think these are oil paintings. And again, crap photographs, but you can see the detail that they managed to get in these oil paintings that are of anime and video game characters. You got lots of, obviously they're a big fan of Link and Zelda. Yeah, these are all oil paintings, and they are very, very beautiful. You can kind of tell that I'm a pretty aesthetic person, and this was also another cosplayer that I ambushed. Ken Sama's personal clothier. And I think that this was a little extreme when it came to stuff to walk around in at a massive convention, but I mean, yeah, it's pretty damn eye-catching, and she walked around with this pretty much all day. I saw her multiple times throughout the days that I was at Dokomi, and yeah, she was a real person to note. She was one of the people that I showed my cock to, okay? This woman has seen my cock. I will note the people that I showed my cock to. Exactly, hard not to see it. This person stood out like mad. Sorry, I'll just go back for a second so that you can bask. She was very appreciative of my cock. Yeah, I showed my cock to several people at Twitchcon as well. Several of the VTubers that I met up with were already quite familiar with my cock because I had shared it with them several times before. And yeah, there was not a single woman at either Twitchcon or Dokomi that had any objections to seeing my cock. And of course, every time I saw a VTuber like this, yeah, no, they weren't. This person wasn't a VTuber. Sorry, just a cosplayer. You know, I don't know what you're talking about, Planetary Bombardment. Moving on. Cute little stand here. Lots of people that are obviously very, very experienced at the convention space because they have these lovely designs for spaces and everything. There was so much more variety at Dokomi. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stalls. More fluffy tail, and I love the huge ears. Like, the huge ears are just so amazing. Unfortunately, you do have, like, the pride nonsense. Joke has achieved total decomposition. What are you talking about? I'm just being literally honest. This is genuinely what I do. I have shown my cock to many VTubers at this point. And, yeah. Another VTuber of substantial proportions. I actually don't know the name of this one. I just started taking random pictures of the standees that I saw. But, yeah, very much short stack. This was another very nice VTuber model that I saw. Well, lots of quite exotic VTuber designs. Non-conventional ones. I constantly see these VTubers that have relatively small follow counts and everything, but they've got really nice designs, and I think that's a shame. Sorry. I believe Dokomi has a bigger artist alley than both AX or Japan Expo Paris. It doesn't surprise me at all. There were hundreds and hundreds of stalls in multiple rooms. Like the cosplay hall had a ton of other artists too. So it was like there was more like at least 3 spaces that had art in them. So there was like the artist alley proper, and then there was the cosplay area, which also had like regular artists at it, and then there was like the tailoring outfit section, which also had artists in it too. So yeah, just enormous amounts of stuff. Some lovely acrylic stands that I did not buy. I've seen this VTuber before somewhere, but I don't know what their name is. But that's a rather sexy design. It's a very nice design there. Some cute stuff in general. I also know this one. Unfortunately, the names are just escaping me at the moment, which is very irritating. This design I love. Unfortunately, I think she only is a a German VTuber. Look at those ears. My goodness, I want to just stick my face against those ears and, you know, many hours could be spent. Oh, look at those. And it's also, oh, look at that tail. I think that's hair, actually. That might just be hair instead of tail. That is just lovely. Give me just 1 second, guys, because I'm now boiling hot. I need to give me just 1 second. I'm just gonna stand up in my room for a moment and get something that I can use to fan myself a little. I'm scorching at this point. Works about as well as any fan will. There's also midges blowing through my open window, which is a bit bothersome. I'm just gonna leave my damn thing off because I'm not getting beeps or anything. That was Freya, I think, the retro VTuber who recently did a vid with Amia. Yeah, it could be. There's also this. Hopefully this doesn't make an awkward noise on the microphone of me fanning myself. Yeah, I have this. That's the detail thingamajig right there. Rather lovely design. I just loved walking through and seeing all of these different designs. Now the Q1 kind of gives me Nyanner's vibes, that one. That photograph didn't come out too well, but more rather nice acrylic stands. And here was another pair of cosplayers. I don't think I need to tell you whose characters they were cosplaying. Another really lovely outfit. Look at that. It's got individual gold embroidery on it. And there were some very cheap Frieran cosplayers wandering around that I didn't bother to photograph. But yeah, this was like a lovely leather pouch and everything. More embroidery. Really, really good. Fern's outfit is obviously just a bit plainer because, you know, it's Fern. But really pretty overall. And also there was 3D printing stuff. What surprised me at Dokomi was the amount of 3D print and laser cut stuff that was being sold. This in particular was the big 3D stall. Is the next one also 3D? Yes, it is. Where you can see they've got these nice laser cut. I'm big into laser cutting, by the way. I'm very interested in laser cutting. And this kind of shows what you can accomplish with laser cutting designs, and I liked a lot of stuff here. My only problem with all of this stuff is that it's not finished. And you see, my father is a carpenter, and I also know some professional carpenters, and a lot of these are pretty damn cheap. Like, this is just 150, like 250, so these are very cheap. And you could obviously produce these very easily on any kind of laser cutter. But what irritates me is that if you got like wood stainers, if you got lacquers, if you got any of this stuff, you could make this stuff look absolutely beautiful. And you could probably mark it up by a minimum by about 5 or 6 euros at least. My leftist sister tells me 3D print and laser cut stuff in Artist Alley is bad TM because it's not art. Your sister is a retard, and you should call her that and tell her that a British person told her that. I like the art. It is not difficult. Like, I could reproduce any of this stuff very easily with the laser cutter that is at the educational facility that I was attending fairly recently. This is not complicated at all, a very basic design, so I can see why it's very cheap. But yeah, a professional carpenter finishing these pieces with like a lacquer and polish, you could sell them for far more. And that's what disappoints me a little bit about the 3D art, the 3D print laser cut art that I saw here. It just is not quite finished, in my opinion. And I think there's a real possibility of a market for a carpenter who can actually also use a laser cutter to like combine the mediums together to make something that is genuinely worth far more than the sum of its parts. Because carpentry is nice, but it's also bloody tedious and a faff. Yep, and these are really nice too. Like, if you got a carpenter to detail and finish these up properly, they'd be really, really, really beautiful. Instead, they're just kind of like they're conceptually very nice, but they're just not quite there in terms of stuff. You need a good fume hood for laser cutting. Yeah, you need a proper extractor fan and everything, because otherwise you get stuff in your lungs, which is not pleasant. That's a really nice one as well. You can see that conceptually the design is there. It's beautiful in concept, but you need to finish it better. Even like little laser cut little stuff here, kind of cute. And now we have some more very nicely decked out cosplayers. Cute little rings and everything on those little thingies. More very nice embroidered stuff. That's really nice. And chain links and also lovely belts and everything. Whew. Sorry, I'm just roasting at this point. Nice stockings too. And again, you can see the heel. You can see the platform-like shoes. You can put on the shellac yourself as the artist even. Right one looks like she's just a Funkin Murray. I have no idea what that is, I'm afraid. just them in a slightly different pose. Yep, and that's one I took because now you can see even more of the outfit that she was wearing. There was some really hardcore cosplay going on at Dokomi, like far, far better than at Twitchcon. Some really lovely outfits. The people that obviously spent a great deal of money on their cosplays, which I was very impressed by. And here's some more oil painting. I think this is Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, that's Horizon Zero Dawn. And lots of things that I'd never heard of before. Like, this is Obsidian Castle. I think this is all the VTubers that I showed before. Oh my goodness, are you seriously joking? Sorry, I'm just looking up my ceiling. My ceiling is now absolutely covered in bugs because I've had the window open, and now I've got to close the window, which means I'm going to heat up even more. It's not a good night for me, guys. But we're getting through the photographs pretty decently. The left one is Howl from the same Ghibli movie. Ah, okay. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Proctor having a crony spider moment. I don't hate the bugs, but they will die and they will fall on my table, which will be rather irritating. And here we have another very nice artist who is, yeah, illustrator and VTuber. Unfortunately, does it. Yeah, that's her model anyway. Unfortunately, she doesn't quite have her name in line. Yeah, she does these Limulicious cards, which are beautiful. I really like Limulicious's design overall, and I think that this is her model designer who does really cute. I love these faces. She does really, really adorable faces that are just moe as heck. Moe as heck, as they say. Moth about to book a flight to Ireland to get some of those bugs. No, keep him away from me, please. And this is Ravy, who... There was a VTuber concert at Dokomi that was like sponsored by Future Legends VT, which is some random company or talent agency or whatever. There was an awful lot of literal Who stuff here. I think that VTubers are very much underrepresented at Dokomi and could have a vastly greater potential at Dokomi in the coming years, and I really hope that they are more active at places like Dokomi, because, I mean, 215,000 attendees. If you want your brand to be represented anywhere, it's at Dokomi, there's no doubt. There's just nowhere else you're going to go anywhere in Europe where you're going to get a better exposure than a Dokomi as a VTuber. You should go there at any cost, basically. Sorry, just finishing off my water. The people who were at the concert, Ravy and Sunny Splosion, were both very good singers. There was one other VTuber who was a very good singer too, but I can't remember who she was. I mean, that's just the Gunpla thing. And of course, there was... What I kind of went for was Mozu and also the Sunflower, who is bloody adorable. And one of the cutest model designs that I know. I think that Mozu had a hand in designing her as well, which is why she's so damn cute. But Mozu... of course, absolutely blew the heads off anybody else in the entire concert. She was, I think, towards the end of the concert that she did her song, and her range of other singers, I think Sunny had a decent range, and Ravy had a pretty good range as well, but Mozu has, like, 2 or 3 times the range of any other singer there by far. Like, she makes everybody else in that concert sound like an absolute amateur. Like, Mozu is an amazing singer. I would love One of my great things that I would love to do is sing a duet with Mozumi Peachy at some point, because, yeah, she has a voice of liquid gold. Which is funny because she has that funny, that silly kind of, like, scratchy VTuber voice, which is really cute. But no, when that voice goes deep, oh man. Oh man. We just took this random picture of an angry goose. And then we have even more ceramics because we have the Japanese section of Dokomi again. There was a big haul, I think it was haul 1 actually, which was like a mixed haul of just about everything. And lots of mixed amateur? No, Japanese ceramics. I don't want to say amateur instead of Japanese. These are more normal, conventional designs. You didn't have like the super enameled and shiny and detailed stuff. Well, this is pretty detailed, but this is more like traditional, conventional ceramics. There's some nice, cute designs here. I'm going to gloss over them fairly fast because we've already talked about this fairly in depth. Some very nice stuff that once more I would have bought if I had the suitcase space. I spent about €2,000 this entire trip. I think that if I had unlimited storage space, I would definitely have spent considerably more than €2,000. But I'd say €2,000 for a 12-day trip, 2 hotels, 2 cities, was pretty good. If only she stayed away from the lemonade. Yeah, what annoys me, just a tiny bit, again, I like Mozu a tremendous amount, but what irritates me is that, like, she made a stance where she privated, and I think she then deleted her ASMR content because she didn't like the kind of viewers that it attracted. She wanted to distance herself from, at least this is how I view it, because, like, she had a split with Menace. They used to be really close, and then Menace went off the deep end with, like, the lewd content and started doing literal porn in Mozu's house, in, like, the shared building they rent. And after that, Mozu deleted her ASMR and more, like, spicy content, including the soda stream stuff. And she made a very direct stance that was basically like, yeah, I don't want to do this content anymore. I don't like the audience that it attracts. And I don't know if she made a direct statement about it, but that was very much the aura and the impression that both her and her fan base kind of said, yeah, this is the kind of way they're going. But she still kind of references the piss content in a lot of her tweets and stuff on a regular basis. And I'm like, I think you're kind of trying to have your cake and eat it too, just a bit. And, like, I really like Mozu, and I'm delighted she moved away. She took a very decisive step away from spicy content towards what she's made for, which is singing, gaming, and just general entertaining, because she's a really entertaining streamer. I just don't like how she just occasionally goes like, yeah, I was the VTuber who drank her own piss, her own carbonated piss. And like, girl, you literally deleted that VOD. I think you should draw a bit more of a line underneath it as opposed to constantly going back to it all the time. In spirit, in conversation with other VTubers. Anyway, you've got more Japanese stuff. My voice is really starting to go, so I'm going to wrap this up soon. This is another really detailed green on grey bowl, €26. This is a really good deal for this kind of detail. That's a really beautiful bowl. And of course, we had the vast collection of figurines. The best girl is out in force. Somebody really likes Rem, as they should. Man, ReZero really took a dive after they decided to kill off Rem. I just don't understand why the author hates money and success. And here was, well, you can tell, this is a very pretty lady. Probably the prettiest cosplayer that I came across. Another very lovely outfit. Very, very, very attractive. And also, of course, that is a very nice face, as you might imagine. Oops, nope, didn't mean to click on too fast. There were some very, very pretty women walking around at Dokomi, and apparently Dokomi does have con orgies as well. You wouldn't know it, but Dusseldorf has a reputation of being the heroin capital of Germany. I have heard rumor, but I have not in any way confirmed it myself, because obviously I'm not going anywhere near those kind of places, but apparently there are drug-fueled orgies after Dokomi. No idea if that's true, but a few people have told me that that happens, so I'd guess that it does. But overall, there was not really much spice on display outside of the R18 area. That's the thing, I'll cover it now. I did go to the R18 area in Dokomi. And I posted a little bit about it in the Discord, because like I am not a lewd person in general. Like, I don't consume pornography. I don't really like hentai or anything like that. But out of curiosity, I did go to the R18 area in Dokomi, and I was... First of all, I was really disappointed by what I saw there, because all of the, like, straight stuff was incredibly vanilla. Pretty much the only straight stuff there was, like, girl with big tits being railed by like a dozen cocks, or girl with big tits covered in cum, or girl with big tits doing a lewd pose. And that was like 99% of the straight R18 stuff in Dokomi. And then you go over to the Fujoshi stuff, the male on male, the gay stuff, and it's like, yeah, you have like incredibly detailed, intricate kink stuff, and it's all gay porn. Like, the amount of gay stuff, there was like really heavy kink and fetish stuff, and it was all gay. All of it was gay. Anything that wasn't gay was basically vanilla. All the gay stuff, really hardcore, kinky, detailed stuff. And I was just, like, I was really annoyed, honestly, because, again, like, I'm not a pornography consumer, I'm not a coomer, but, again, it's like, if I ever was going to be like that, I would want to be have standards, okay? I wouldn't be like a gooner where it'd be like, oh, yeah, it's like a girl with big tits, I'm gonna whip my cock out. I would want to be a connoisseur, okay? I'd want something that would actually, like, a posh wank. Okay? And I'm just like, why is it that you have all of this? Why is it the Fujoshi artists that have so much detail and so much obvious dedication to the craft? Because there were genuinely some amazingly good artists. And they were all Fujoshis. All of the straight artists was just like, yeah, it's generic anime girl with big tits art style. There was almost no standout stuff there. And, you know, I spent like 20 minutes walking around the R18 stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, this is boring. And I just walked out again. See, that's the thing. I am the reverse, the absolute opposite of an exhibitionist. I have no idea how someone can walk around in a public space and be like, yeah, damn, I feel so aroused by staring at this lewd picture in a public space. I'm like, no. It's the complete and total opposite for me. I have absolutely no conception how an exhibitionist's mind works. Or to me, like, the moment I'm in any sort of company where I would not have a romantic interest, you couldn't pay me to be engaged mentally with any of that stuff. I'm like, no. You could show me, like, the most insanely lewd, in touch with my preferences artwork in any sort of company, and if that company was not like a girlfriend, I would just be like, yes, that is indeed a picture of something that under private circumstances I might be into. But yeah, Proctor is asexual. No, I am definitely, trust me, I am definitely not asexual, but it's just, again, I don't understand the mindset. Like, I don't understand, like, with the furry conventions and so on, where people are, like, degeneracy together, but I am completely repulsed by any of that stuff. I do not understand why you would want to talk about your, what turns you on with somebody else just because they're also turned on by that thing, unless they're also someone you intend to do those things with. Like, let's say I had no standards and I just wanted to, like, have a hookup with somebody. Then yeah, okay, I want to get freaky with that person. I want to talk about the things that I want to do to them. I want them to talk to me about the things they want to do to me. I want to generate that kind of, erotic atmosphere. But if it's some guy that's just like, hey, I'm into the same kinks as you, let's talk about those kinks, I'm like, no. Why would I? What's the point? It's not going to do anything for me. I'm just going to be kind of weirded out that somebody else I have no interest in having interactions with on any level sexually is talking to me about the stuff that gets him hard or her wet. Like, it's just like, no? I feel like AB because I want to tell you to move on. Look, it's a segment, okay? It's just one of those things that has my autism going, like, I don't understand this, and it doesn't make sense to me. And when something doesn't make sense to me, I just go into that intensely analytical mental mindset. I am sure those people can't understand your POV here. Remember not to cultivate erotic energy from surprising sources. I'm not sure if you mean surprising there. Anyway, let's move on. I will agree with the planetary bombardment. I will move on, but it just gets my noggin a-jogging. These were some really nice If these had been like pendants or something, I would have bought them, but they were necklaces, and they are rather lovely. Conversation about what a person likes or find attractive is acceptable. IMO. It's kind of like art talk. I mean, yeah, but I agree. But my criteria for it is that it has to be somebody that I would have a desire to be intimate with at some point. If not, it's just kind of weird. This is just a bit too busy. It doesn't really come out too well in the photograph, but yeah, that's the big one. This was another lovely stall that I spent quite a bit of time at. These are really cute. I love these little Japanese, like, cat things. These Nico design stuff. Lovely kimonos everywhere. I love these kimonos. That's another thing. If I had a girlfriend, I would absolutely take her to somewhere like Dokomi and point her towards stalls like this and go, just tell me what you want me to buy for you. Or I would be like, yeah, darling, I think, like, I like this one. I would love you to dress up in this. Oh, that's even got peacock feathers on. I didn't even notice that when I was taking pictures of it. I would love for you to wear this for me, like, the next convention we go to. That would be really lovely. I don't think Kirsha fit in one of those, but we can try. This isn't her color. Like, bright red is not Kirsha's color anyway, so, like, more like blue. I think she'd look quite nice in one of these. Like, not really fully detailed, but like the blue and purple ones. Those are more her kind of colors. That's a nice one. I would like to see her in this one. These cranes are rather pretty. There's another one I would like to see her in. There was just so many clothes, and like I really love looking at these kind of clothes. There's also tons of little brooches. I think we're coming to the end of the slideshow by now. Oh no, there's still quite a bit more, actually. Lots of jewelry stores. Did I get a better one of this? Yeah, everything is handmade. That's cute. They're a bit blurry, unfortunately. Ah, there we are. There's her socials, too. People are getting a lot of free advertisement from me today. Oh, yes. If this hadn't been 52 euros, I would definitely have bought this. I love this necklace. But it was... I only saw this at the end of the Sunday, and by then I had already spent a very considerable amount of money. I actually took this photograph and I showed it to several women that I know, and they all said, damn, that's really pretty. Funnily enough, the same person who said that she would have felt weird wearing a piece of jewelry that looked like a dead butterfly around her neck said that she really loved this one. So I kind of feel bad about not buying it, because that's someone I might actually potentially have a chance to meet in person in the future, and I would really have loved to, like, give her this. This was another cute one, although the colors were a little bit wrong. I think they look a bit too similar to the pride flag for my taste. And again, another 52 euro. And this is a great one. Why is this man so interested in women's jewelry? I was raised by an artistic mother who had a massive jewelry collection, and I'm an autistic magpie. I love shiny things. And so I love jewelry. I mean, I wouldn't wear jewelry, but I collect jewelry quite a lot. Like, every time I go to, like, an art fair or something, and there's a jewelry stall, I ask, hey, when this thing ends, can I buy some of your jewelry? And they'll always say yeah, because they don't want to carry it home again. And you can buy loads of jewelry at art fairs and, like, public displays and everything for really, really cheap. So I've got a big box that I keep with all sorts of stuff that I've bought for like 75% off at these craft fairs and everything. It's a great reason to go to craft fairs, to like buy the supply that's on display at the end of the day. And oh yeah, these. And is this the only picture of this that I've got? Unfortunately, it is. Unfortunately, some of these pictures didn't come out too well. There was a huge, like, cosplay stall here. These are all semi-functional. Like, the wheel the locking mechanisms and the triggers do work on these, although obviously they are not functional as actual firearms, not in Germany anyway. They're all made of real wood and metal. They're beautiful. I would have bought one again, but they were all very heavy, so I didn't. They would have put me over the weight limit for my suitcase coming back. But these swords are battle ready. These are real swords. The only difference between these and like a genuine sword is that they have blunt edges. Like the edges are blunt, but they're real swords. And I am bloody furious that I can't own these in Ireland. I would have bought one of these, but absolutely no way in hell would I have ever been able to bring it back to Ireland. I would have been literally jumped by a SWAT team at the airport security stand if I tried to. Yeah, because British weapons laws. No way I could buy these. But yeah, these are genuine swords, and they cost like $300 or $400 each. But yeah, proper steel blades, proper tempered steel blades and everything. Just they don't have edges on them, which is why they can be brought into a convention center. You need a license for that. I wonder how sharp real swords are. I mean, they're pretty sharp. More outfits here. Tons and tons of clothing stands. This is why you need to become a blacksmith. Look, I'm already doing carpentry. I'm already doing gardening. I'm already doing 3D design, okay? The blacksmithing comes later, preferably when I have more space, because I have so little space left after all the stuff that I've done. It's another rather cute and rather tiny cosplayer in a very cute little outfit that I asked about. I don't recall whether I showed her my cock or not, but I think I did actually, and she once again approved of it quite a lot. And this one unfortunately has a little bit of the static face, but they had a very cute cosplay. Man put all his points in crafting. I like working with my hands an awful lot. Another very cute outfit. I definitely I have a policy of showing all the fox girls that I see my cock, and they all say variations on, yes, I would definitely chase and eat that cock if I had a chance. I think I saw flintlocks. And if they were any longer on screen, my spurging would be unstoppable. Yeah, the mechanisms work too, but the flints are fake and they don't connect to anything, so yeah, you couldn't turn it into a functional flintlock. I would really like a flintlock musket, rifle, or like pistol, but again, Irish license laws, so no way that could ever happen. And these were nice little Japanese anime lamps that I saw that were very nice. Does this look like AI art to you? These faces look just a bit AI to me. I don't know. Yeah, I think this is AI. Is that hand just messed up a bit? I'm not going to go like full retard and go like, oh yes, this is AI art because there are superficial problems with it that no real artist would ever make. Yeah, it's just looking just a little bit like an AI gen to me. I don't know why. You were in the worst country short of China to own guns, time to move to the USA. Dude, I would move to the USA in a heartbeat if Kyoshi agreed to marry me. But yeah, I would love to go and live in the USA. Maybe once my parents are dead and I have no physical ties to Ireland any longer and I have enough skills to like set myself up as a actual contributing citizen of the USA. Yeah, this one's not AI and you can tell it's a lot nicer. It'll happen one day. I am going to huff the fluffy tail. It's a nice one, very classic Japanese water thing. No touchy, another lovely looking little tons and tons of figurines that were actually really cheap. Like these were only like 25 or 30 euros each. And these ones were a lot more expensive, actually, these ones in particular. But, like, this was 30 to 34. That one's 89. But, yeah, a lot of these were really cheap. Like, 39.90. That's like a pop-up parade level prices. And really well done. Really well made. I like this one. It's a lovely ballet dress. Few more like it. This one was very nice. Another thing that I might have bought if I'd had the space for it. Their prize figures often sell secondhand for 1,000, 2,000 yen. Oh, I didn't know that actually. So they are marked up. All right. I didn't know they were prize figures. Some more very nice art here, more Western style. I am never going to coom on a figurine, sir. That is rather disgusting. More 3D stuff that was kind of cute. And you can see, like, for those that haven't been to Dokomi, this is the kind of scale of Dokomi as well. This is one small portion of one hall. There are something like 10 or 12 halls that are all easily twice as big as this one. This was the smallest hall, I think, and you can see just massive scale of everything here. It's quite enormous. This was a really beautiful art stand as well. This is, you can see the business card back there too. Unfortunately, yeah, quite Fujoshi coded. All of the best artists at Dokomi unquestionably were Fujoshis. Where's the guy even sending that message from? It would get censored on YouTube. Yeah, I have no idea how he manages to say "come" on YouTube. That's really cute. This guy I'm very jealous of because he is German, so he was able to just walk in with this suit of armor. I really want a suit of armor, guys. I really do. Like, proper battle-ready stuff, too. This wasn't, like, fake cosplay armor. This is actual steel, cuirass chestplate and everything. It must have been pretty hot walking around this convention, but... I would love a suit of chainmail. I want to buy a suit of chainmail at some point at bare minimum, but unfortunately it's not in my budget right now. And I mean proper chainmail, not like the stupid butted chainmail rings, but proper riveted or welded chainmail. A suit of titanium chainmail would be amazing, but that costs like thousands and thousands of euros. But it would be amazing. Just some more stands. Cute, yeah, cute VTuber stuff. My dream is to make plate chain armor by hand and use it on a cosplay. That's a pretty big dream. Debut soon. About me. Hi, I'm Liv, a ghost VTuber and illustrator from the Netherlands. Mostly stream art, giving a behind-the-scenes look at how my artwork comes to life. Outside of streaming, I run my own web shop where I sell merch featuring my designs. Yeah. Another cute little girl here. Little? Actually, no, she's a very much well curvy. I don't know why I said little. These are apparently two very big German VTubers. Another reason to blacksmith. Yeah, I agree. I would love to blacksmith at some point in my life, but I just don't have the facilities right now, and it's just a bit too much out of my league. Another lovely cosplayer here. Who is... Do I have multiple photographs of her? Nah, just slightly different angles. That's the best angle. And I was amazingly impressed by the amount of effort the cosplayers took. Dokomi definitely inspired me. When I go to V-Expo, the first time I went to V-Expo, I just in a very plain outfit, just like black t-shirt and, you know, coat. When I go to V-Expo this year, my outfit will be considerably more elaborate because it definitely gave me like the feel I want to stand out a little bit more in the crowd because it's like there's so many people wearing beautiful stuff around me. Like there's people back here wearing, you know, matching cosplay there, which is nice. I have little trades under my belt. Unfortunately, I'm not had the opportunity to blacksmith. I will tell you... I don't know, Justin T, I don't know if you're married or have a girlfriend or anything, but when I started doing gardening, the number of women I was able to get to talk to me was huge. It doesn't sound very masculine, but if you're able to make pretty gardening and do flowers and show that you're willing to like get on your hands and just work, women will give you far more attention. The moment you start developing practical skills and are able to like demonstrate them in any way, yeah, it's like the incel breaker. Just do something practical and guess what? You will activate that instinct in a woman's brain that goes, yeah, I like a man who actually does things with his hands as opposed to sit around on his arse all day in a chair whining about how he doesn't get any pussy. Yep, glad Hot Dogs Aplenty agrees with me. I like this. I forget what it's called, actually. That's so annoying. Which one is this? It's it's not Mazin Kaiser, it's... Why can't I remember? Grendizer, thank you, Grendizer. Did you see HoloLive cosplays, though? Last year I saw quite a big meetup. I didn't see a meetup of HoloLive cosplayer, but there were quite a few HoloLive cosplayers. And then you've got, I think it's... Jeeg, that's Konketsu Jeeg, I think. I have a number of relationships, but only base survivalist slash survivalist based XP gardening. I can build a greenhouse, just not much of it in it. Goldorak French detected. You've been found out, Tiny Kusa. Sorry, I just had to nibble something off the edge of my nail because it was really bothering me. I already took pictures of that. Yeah, same thing. Just random clematis that I photographed outside Dokomi. And this was the second thing that I had at my noodle house. This was a duck ramen, roasted duck ramen. Gorgeous. Absolutely delicious. And then after that, see the Sunday, I had no food at all during the day. And I didn't buy any food at Dokomi at all. I only ate at either the grocery stores or I ate at the restaurants. And this was the second dish that I had at my noodle house on the Sunday. Saturday, I intended to go to my noodle house as well. However, after Dokomi, there was a massive thunderstorm. It poured with rain, like absolutely crashed down in enormous quantities. And I had only just set out from my hotel, and the heavens just opened, and I ducked under an awning, and I stood there for about 20 minutes waiting for a break in the rain so I could go back to my hotel. So unfortunately, I was not able to patronize my noodle house on the Saturday, which was very depressing. But on the Sunday, that's when the proprietor saw me and ushered me straight in. And, yep, I had the roasted duck ramen. And because I was so hungry, I actually had a second main course. And that was chicken curry. With rice, obviously. It was a big bowl. It was delicious as well. Like both of these dishes, the duck ramen and the chicken curry. Is it called like katsu curry? Is that the same thing? Let me just look it up. Katsu curry. Yeah, I think it was a katsu curry. Yeah. Katsu curry, Japanese dish consisting of tonkatsu served with Japanese rice and curry. And it was lovely. Like, everything I had at my noodle house was delicious. And I left it a 5-star rating along with that Ethiopian restaurant. Katsu is breaded and fried. Okay, so it wasn't katsu curry. My apologies. Just my 3 out of night, maybe 4-hour streamer brain just kind of breaking down and exploding. There is actually a Japanese restaurant that opened fairly close to where I live that I think I will be patronizing quite a bit. I went to it actually just 2 days ago. It wasn't as good as my noodle house, but it was still pretty decent, and the price range was about the same, so I will be going back there. Just give me a second, please. And actually, looking at it, that's the end of... Because this was on the Sunday night, so this was at the very end of Dokomi. The only other things of note is this lovely... Again, a lovely cathedral-style building, which was a highlight of my architecture there. And then a bug. 2 bugs, actually. These were 2 random bugs that I have never seen before that I saw as I was walking to the airport. After midnight there. Yep, it's 12:42 a.m. right now. Let me just look at my live chat there. So yeah. Moth has definitely been inspired by this stream anyway. Is there anything else? Nope. Is this okay to share? Yes. Yes, I actually picked this one up and I put it back in the bushes because it was very much in danger of being squashed. And with that, I packed my bags, I got back on a plane, and I returned to Ireland. And did you identify them? No, I have no idea what they are. I could probably run them through a bug identifier app or something. And there was more that I wanted to say about my trip, but I'll be blunt. I am really damn tired. I am also sweating buckets. So I don't really want to philosophize too much about my time in Germany, but I'd say there's a good hour or so of stuff that I want to ramble about with the people that I met and the people that I talked to, and the whole kind of social atmosphere that I experienced in Germany, which I found to be very interesting. I will say that it goes against a lot of what I was told about Germany. An awful lot of people that are not in Germany like to call Germany like this hellscape where like people are constantly oppressed and there's no free speech and, you know, people are really weird. And I can say that it's different in person because when I go to places, I do try and go around and talk to people. I like to experience the culture. I like to experience the surroundings. And I think there is a much more kind of nuanced perspective to be had. I've kind of gotten sick of being told extremes about places by third parties when like the perspective on the ground is usually very, very different. So I would like to do like a little follow-up stream. Again, because of my unmedicated ADHD, I can't really guarantee it at the moment and my other commitments, but I would like to do like an hour or so stream just talking about the social climate and the experience that I had in Germany and also in Holland from a more like socio-political and economic perspective, because it was very interesting. Rainfriend, Germany is not that bad, just use a VPN. Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah. 21 degrees, Proctor is cooking, something like that. Your sense of aesthetic made for great picture taking. Thanks for showing. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. And I will, when I go to V Expo as well, I will be taking a ton of photographs there too. And, yeah, honestly, guys, I am really, really tired and whacked out now. So if you're hoping for like a detailed philosophical summary of this stream, you're not going to get it. I think I will call things a day here. Also, don't try to set up a new political party. No, definitely don't. I think I will call things a night, and I will go and have some coffee and something to eat, and then relax, and probably a bath now after how sweaty I feel from sitting in this chair. So, yeah, guys, I do really appreciate everybody who came to this little, like, what I did on my holiday kind of stream. Is there anyone online that I could raid into? Because we've got a decent number of people here. I don't think anyone is really live that I could reasonably, like, stream to. Nah, nobody is live as far as that is on my list. Anyway, that I could raid. So I'm just gonna say a good night to everybody because I am completely whacked out. Thanks for sharing. Great stream, Proctor. Yeah, thanks a lot, Decato too. I will let everybody get on with whatever they're doing at the moment. There's probably people that are watching here that are in, like, American time zones that still have raid... No, I'm not going to raid Flayon, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Rave Master J. Thanks, Hot Dogs Aplenty, and also Planetary Rebel Bourbon. I'll see you all later. Thank you very much for coming to my expose. Also, good night. Good night, everybody. It's been nice. And I will see you all whenever the brainworms and the ADHD allow me to do. I'm desperately hoping to get back on my medication sometime so I can return to some form of a consistent schedule, but that's like not going to happen anytime soon. So yeah, for the 737th time, good night everybody. I will see you all the next time. Good night.